better than what's provided in the project. Right.
Yeah, we can slide over this way.
Why don't you guys share? Like Diana and I are
Yeah, we
sharing.
could share. Look at it. No, we can share. It's fine. Yeah. Too big. Yes.
Are you guys ready? Welcome to the December 3rd, 2025 Historic and Architectural Review Board meeting. Membership on this board includes registered architect Joe Phillips, Nick Nikolov, architect, real estate brokers Diana Hodgson and Joseph McGavin, residents and business owners within the historic district Rodman Young and Connie Postupak, and Bethlehem's chief building official Mike Simonson. We thank you for coming and joining us in preserving our city's unique historic and architectural heritage. Mr. Phillips will describe the proposed changes as well as significant features of the building and describe the standards to which they apply to each project. Approved changes to district structures are based on Bethlehem's Historic District guidelines and the Secretary of Interior standards. Applicants are invited to present their proposal. Board members will ask questions or hold discussions with the applicant. Project presentations are limited to 45 minutes and 5 minutes for comments from each visitor. A motion is made and additional discussion may ensue before the vote is taken. The motion may approve the submission as made, approve with modifications, or deny with clear reason why the proposal does not meet qualifications. It may also be tabled with a list of clarifications needed to allow the board to make a COA recommendation. Recommendations made today may be acted upon by City Council at their next meeting, typically on the first and third Tuesdays. No work can begin until council approval is received. Are there any corrections or discussion regarding the last minutes, which I believe were October?
Yes, there's one.
Okay.
On item number 3, proposed work, the last sentence should be 108 dwelling units, if the numbers within the minutes are correct.
Is that from October or is that from what I just submitted you for this meeting?
The ones that you just sent to us.
So that's not the minutes from October.
All right, I'm sorry.
Here's this is the,
And I caught that too.
All right.
okay, so
Sorry, I should have said
But
it earlier.
that's on the meeting prep stuff. That's not on the minutes.
Right, okay. I retract what I just said then.
okay. Anyone else?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Very good. Second?
Second.
Approve. Vote, please.
All in favor?
All in favor, thank you.
Aye.
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 Against? Moved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're ready.
All right, 38 to 44 East Market Street. You guys are all ready to go. The applicant owner of the property located at 38 to 44 East Market Street proposes to construct a new elevator and tower addition at the rear of the building, which is the south facade. The addition will be clad with a brick veneer in style and color to match the existing brick as closely as possible. The addition will also include fixed windows facing Milton Street and square scuppers and downspouts, believed to match existing, but we can ask them about the materials. I have a question about that. The new elevator tower addition will be constructed against the left side wall of the 4-story flat roof portion of the building. So the back is a U shape, and the flat roof section is on the right as you're back to Milton Street, and the elevator and stair tower will be on the left wall of that.
Correct.
A lot of lefts and rights and backs and fronts. The Milton Street frontage where the work is proposed is characterized by 2 wings of the building with a small service courtyard between them. The leftmost wing is a 3-story gable roof structure with arch-top service doors on the ground floor and pointed arch window centered in the 3rd floor of the gable end. Rightmost wing is a 4-story flat-roofed boxy structure with small rectangular windows located close to grade on the ground floor. All facades are clad in smooth red brick, while this facade is clearly the back or service side of the building, and proposed new construction will be visible from Milton Street. There is a paved parking area between Milton Street and the rear of the building. And just as a note, the church was established in 1869 as a mission of the Cathedral of the Nativity. Its first service was held in 1872. It was created to serve the north side of Bethlehem, beginning with Sunday school on what is now Market Street. Guidelines, Secretary of Interior Standards, number 9, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the historic property and its environment. Number 10, new additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that, if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. In your preparation notes, I included also the Bethlehem Ordinance Historic Conservation District, and then our Historic District Guidelines, page 9 regarding masonry and stucco, and page 10 regarding windows, because the project does include new windows, and then the whole section on page 16 regarding compatible design principles talks about scale, height, and width, building form and massing, setbacks, coverage, orientation, architectural elements and projections, alignment, rhythm, and spacing, facade proportions, trim and detail, and materials. That's enough.
All right.
Excuse me.
The floor is yours.
Floor is ours. All right.
Excuse me.
I guess where to start. The
Can you just introduce yourself, please?
name is Ben Maderick from Alvin Butts.
And your last name again?
Maderick.
Maderick.
Can you move the mic closer? Thank you. Pick it up and pull it over to you. Very good. Come on.
And you're joined by?
Yeah, Ken Griesaber. I'm representing Trinity Church.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. I mean, exactly what you said. We're looking to add this addition on the, which would, on the right-hand side, looking at it from the alley. More or less, I mean, the goal was to, what Alloy 5 had worked on was to extend the existing tower that's there now to encompass a stair tower and an elevator. So we're just pulling the existing tower that's there front and eliminating the the fire escape.
So the existing tower is now going to be at the edge of the fire escape where the
The fire escape will go away. So the tower that the fire escape is attached to is the same width, or approximately the same width, as the new elevator and stair tower. So we're basically pulling that wall front, and then in place of the fire escape is going to be the elevator and
So
stair
then will
tower.
it stop here in front of this little roof?
No, that roof would go away, and we're going to end up being set back approximately 8 feet
Okay, so 8 feet into the roof.
inset from that other wall.
So 8
Oh,
feet
I
from
see.
the end.
From here.
8 feet from the end. Got it.
8 feet
Excuse
in.
me, across the whole length or just the width of that tower?
The width of that tower, it's 19 by 32 is the size of the addition.
And by the plans, it will include a stairwell,
Yes,
corridors, and an elevator.
correct.
Anything else?
It's going to have one man door that's going to be like within the horseshoe, it's not going to be facing the back, it'll be facing the side. So there will be one man door to exit on the
Into the
elevator.
parking lot.
Yeah, into the parking lot, correct.
There's not gonna be no offices or anything in the new portion
No.
of it?
No, there will not be any offices. All it is corridor, stair tower, elevator.
So it's, excuse me. So I'm assuming this building's going to dump into that corridor?
And in one, it's going to dump into it at one point, which would be that beige door that you see on the side there, that basically dumps out onto the fire escape. That will dump into,
So it'll pick up that building?
Yes.
That'll be part of its exit corridor?
Correct.
then? Okay.
and then all of the other, each of the other floors, those openings all get changed. There's a window at the top that gets changed to a door. The double door on the third level gets changed to a single. The next one down is a single door, and the next one down is a single door to get into the stair tower. So.
Yeah.
We were looking to use, a brick that would end up matching or get as close as we can to the building that, that is currently there. Not matching, but similar to what is currently there to keep the same look. Because we're just pulling that tower forward to keep this within it. Not touching the stone part of the church or anything.
So have you researched that brick yet?
Yes, we had Beth Hanover go out and review. They offered a few samples.
So if I understand our own guidelines correctly, it doesn't have to match. It can be a totally different.
Correct, but we're dealing with a few different types of brick back there already. We were trying to just keep that same look and just move it front. We weren't trying to reinvent everything and come up with another, because on the back side of the church, there's also a change. I don't have that in the picture. On the left-hand side, there's some siding up on the upper part. It just doesn't, there's a lot of material back there. So we were just trying to keep it in kind.
Okay.
Is the new addition going to be a flat roof, or will it be slightly slanted?
The parapet wall is going to line up with the building on the right. The roof line and the height will continue, and then it will be pitched within the parapet wall.
Okay. And then how is rain going to be? How are the gutters?
There's going to be two sidewall scuppers within the within that horseshoe. There will be two scuppers on that. It would be the west wall, I guess you want to call it. It would be facing west. Yeah. If you're looking at the horseshoe, it would be the east wall.
Right,
Yes,
right,
I'm
the
just,
architects
yeah.
called it east elevation.
Sorry.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, she does have east elevation there.
Is this?
Just can you, what is
This
the
is
material of the scuppers and the downspouts?
Scuppers and downspouts were going to be, we were going to do that in an aluminum and then paint it.
Okay.
There's a few different colors of downspout there. We were trying to decide where to go. The one on the church is brown. There's one tucked in the back, which is a galvanized, and then there's two that are two that are on the existing building coming down with the scuppers, which is like a classic ivory.
And did I read you're going to match the brick color for the downspout?
Yeah, it's a brown color. It was going to look like the one that's attached to the church, just to kind of get it to blend in.
Oh.
There's that brownish red color.
And there's some new windows going in?
There is, what do we have? We have 4 windows going in, and we're trying to mimic the look of the boxy type windows on that lower level, since those were the windows that were closest to the addition.
And do they line up with the landings for the stairs?
Should be the new windows, or they might.
Yeah, they're centered within the corridor.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So they're gonna light uniformly. They're not gonna catch a stair halfway up in the.
No, they're actually not in the stairwell. They're within the corridor
Oh,
where you would
okay,
enter
okay.
the
They're-
elevator.
okay, they're not
So
in the
they're
stairwell.
centered in there.
Okay.
They're 3 foot wide, 4 foot tall.
No
The
button or grill pattern in those, just
It, the lower ones do not have it, and the rest of the church all has this colonial grill.
Mhm.
I believe Gina had written in colonial grill into those.
Yep, I see it now, sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Again, the coping that would be going around the top, that, I mean, on the existing tower that's there now, it's a mixture of like a 1x that's painted in this like classic ivory with the the drip edge, which would end up, it's actually white. And I would propose to paint both of those classic ivory to carry, because all the fascia on the church, everything is a classic ivory. So I would like to put that drip edge on there and then, and paint the classic ivory to kind of,
That's aluminum.
Will the existing fascias be painted or repainted?
they are already,
Okay.
there's one in the back there that you will not see because the addition will be going against it. So, I mean, it's everything that you would see from the alleyway would be, you see the reverse, or you see the A part of the church, the gable of the church, which that fascia is all classic ivory, and then we would end up just, that horizontal line would end up being classic ivory.
So on the new addition, are you gonna paint it's a stone coping, right? Or are you gonna have metal?
It would be a metal coping. on top.
Metal.
Yeah.
And that will be painted.
Yes.
Isn't the existing one stone though?
No, it's like wrapped up and around, and I believe the roofing material is wrapped up and over top of that.
Oh, that's not a parapet wall?
That is a parapet wall, but I actually have not been up there to investigate that. I believe the existing one has like a slag stop or not a slag stop, but a metal edge that's nailed to it with the roofing material that runs up and over top of it.
But that's a parapet wall. I mean, the roofing material wouldn't be on the coping then. Why would you?
That's how that one, I believe that's how that one
Really?
is.
So if you notice where the current scupper is, that
Yes.
gives you about like 2.5, 3 feet of parapet.
Right.
And you think the
rubber
roofing material
goes up
wraps
over that.
3 feet up and over?
Yes.
So you're gonna match that, or the addition will have essentially a different detail. It's because you're not gonna do that detail. on the
No,
addition.
we would just end up doing a wide drip edge to kind of mimic a fascia.
Right, and that will be painted ivory white.
Yes.
But the existing one is not painted ivory white, so there will be a definite difference.
That width until
Is
Correct.
that fair?
Yes, that is fair.
So the matching is not going to be like, it will look like it is a separate building. Is that correct?
these 2 windows.
Yes, as the existing tower that's there does currently.
I guess maybe like I'm misunderstanding, because like the existing tower is not going to be connected to the addition. The addition is connected to the. Am I understanding that correctly?
I thought it was just gonna bringing this existing tower out, so the new addition would
Well,
be connected.
Well,
right?
that's not what's on. Look, I mean, if you look, this is the addition. This is existing, and that's the tower. So, like the existing tower is separate from the addition. They don't match. They don't touch. correct?
They do. Yeah, they do. That existing tower is how you,
Do you mind if I ask for clarification on your plan? I think the addition is like from here to here.
yes.
That is the existing tower. That's the line.
Yeah, and that would be the fascia, this here, which you would no longer see.
This window, these two windows. Are
That's
these two
all
windows?
going to be, no, that is these.
That one is this here?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2,
Okay, so
3.
that continues. Okay, my
Yeah,
bad.
so
My bad.
So I have a question. That existing tower, it looks like the roof slopes into the courtyard. Are you, and does not, and at its high point is below the parapet on the main portion of the building.
Right.
So are you extending the walls of that existing tower up? Because you're extending the new addition up.
Yeah.
There's something going on here that's not right.
Yeah, it's
we
not quite-
we are not extending that portion up. That roof would remain sloping there. There would end up being a detail.
So it's just going to be hidden by the new addition.
Correct. The addition will be as high as the, I guess it would be the auditorium type room.
Well,
There's some lines missing.
Yeah. Ben, if you don't mind, explaining here like this. This line.
Yep.
The top of that roof is lower than this line currently.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So there will be, the addition will not, you're not going to be able to match the coping on level. They're not going to be on level unless you extend the wall up on the existing stairwell. That's what's confusing me a little bit. You're not going to achieve the continuity of, the addition is not going to extend. The existing stairwell will be lower than the addition.
Right.
Yeah, it will be. It's going to, I think we needed to do that in order to get the headroom and everything within, so we were taking it up to the height
It's
of.
just like there's a little bit of a discrepancy in the,
Yeah, this
plans.
drawing is incorrect in how it's put together. That step was not drawn into the height. This should be stepped down.
so the addition's coping will not match
No, it will be higher than,
higher, but also will not match the coping behind, of the existing, what is that part of the U shape? This one over here. This one over here. Like,
correct,
right, it will not because it's just simply a different detail.
yes.
But the addition is going to match the parapet height of the main box of the building that it's attaching to, correct?
Yes,
No,
the main box, yeah.
No,
the big,
that's
the big
exactly what I
building.
was asking.
Well,
It will
is.
not.
That's the way it's drawn.
Yeah, but that's,
And that's what you mean. You're meaning that the high point on this existing stair tower roof will still be lower than the new addition's parapet height. You see how that doesn't line up?
no, I understand that,
So,
but
so they're just going to build a box in front of that matches that height.
he said they will not. Like, maybe it's not that consequential.
Can you come up here a second? Sure. Sorry, you're dealing with a couple architects.
It's fine.
This is the low point. You're missing some lines.
Right.
That's the low point there. That's the high point there, which doesn't come up to the parapet there. You're simply building a box in front of that matches that height, correct?
Correct. And this gutter stays. That gutter stays, that downspout stays. This
Yeah.
one that you see here. So then we're just going to bring this up.
Yeah. But this
But
metal coping,
the coping that's on the existing one that wraps up and is like wrapped and
Behind.
nailed around is not going to be the same. It's going to be squared off
To match.
more to match like a fascia look
well,
and to look something
So-
like that. So then it's going to, because it's going to be back here. Button come out.
so this existing coping will appear here. And it will be, that is existing stone, I believe.
That's all brick.
That's brick.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, the coping you mean.
The coping. Is that
He's
brick?
saying it's metal.
Well, no,
that
the addition will have metal.
Oh, I
This,
thought you were talking about.
I mean, if you give me 2 minutes, I can look at pictures. I had a guy up there and photographed that roof for me to let me know what was on it, because we were curious before we put the,
The question is that existing coping going to remain, or are you going to modify that in some way?
no, we were just in it, we would end up just running into this wall.
Right.
And that would be
Back
just
into
the
it
the same way
90.
that this one is, except we're just going to be higher.
Yeah.
And if it helps, I'm sure that there is room for us to drop in height a little bit on the new addition, so that those two lines don't perfectly like line up.
Yeah,
There is a
so-
little bit of room to step, and then as it wraps around the corner, it could step again.
So there, I mean, I'm not trying to be like really picky, but like there is like a general principle in which like an addition, you're already not trying to make it blend and disappear and make it completely fit, right? Like, so you're not necessarily establishing or overriding a historic record. You're adding a new volume to it. So a certain kind of differentiation and a certain degree of kind of a separation would be a good idea to have. So if that is not necessarily done with the material, like if the brick is matching, then perhaps volumetrically it could just pop up or pop out a little bit. My concern is that you already have too many bricks going on, and chances that your new brick is going to be another kind of brick there. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to match too closely.
I mean, I don't know that would matter, because this brick would disappear. So the only way that you would be able to tell, you would have to go into that alleyway and stand back, and you're not going to get more than 10 feet away from it to be able to like look at it. So no one from the public would ever see the two.
Well,
At the same time, this brick, we matched fairly closely. It's going to come out here. It's going to be this color, and it's going to come out.
This is
out
the
here.
brick you matched.
Yeah, that's the brick we matched.
oh, so you'll match to that, not
We
to
matched
other
the
one, okay.
addition. So that's what we were trying to do, was keep, we matched that. So
Stair
that's what we're trying to
tower.
do, is keep this line going, keep everything kind of going, and just pull the whole thing out and make room for the elevator.
So Nick, are you saying it would be better if they matched the top of the addition's parapet with the high point of that roof, so that it just allowed the top of the existing box to peak above it?
That's one way.
Do you have headroom?
I'd
Like
have
you,
to look at the
like you
HVAC
can't,
plans and
yeah, I
see if
mean,
there's enough room
you
for the
can't
ductwork.
come down there, but can you match that height?
I would have to,
Yeah.
I would have to go
And-
into those plans
and-
and see if there's room to move that
Are
much.
you going to be the builder or the
Yeah.
GC? Yeah. So like I'm also noticing this is a cavity wall, correct? So you have a like CMU backup with a 2-inch airspace, right? So you'll have to, you have to weep that certain places, quite a few places, because there are openings. And being such a big 3-level high brick wall, you'll have to do like the kind of control joints and stuff like that. So they're not drawn here. So I would just suggest or recommend that they control joints are conforming to general. The pattern is borrowed from what's existing there, so it doesn't offer another partitioning to the facade. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So Nick, here's the section. So we'll just bring it down a little bit.
If it's possible now.
If there's enough room for the
Yeah, to
ductwork
match
and.
with- Yeah,
Yeah.
match with the height of.
We'll push it up.
I don't really want to push it up, because then there's a chance that we might be able to see that from the front.
I see.
Right now, everything's tucked.
And
It's
gonna
tucked
get
down.
surgery.
Yeah, then at this point, you can't, when you stand out front, you can't see anything of.
Okay.
any of
Ben,
the-
are there going to be any utilities on the roof? Any new utilities?
Only on the this existing building here. There's going to be a hood for a kitchen.
So
Coming
is
out
that
the
gonna-
sidewall or
No,
up
no,
the, up the
through the
top? Okay.
It's,
Through the roof,
we're
it's
not going
gonna
to
be
see it
within the
though.
parapet.
Yeah,
it's
so
not
we
gonna be
wouldn't see it.
visible.
Can't see it.
You
Okay.
can't see it.
That's cool. And normally we would like to see like the windows, but these are going to be wood clad, correct?
They, so the bottom ones are Anderson awning windows. They're like a
Vinyl?
400 series vinyl,
Oh.
wood wrap, it's wood wrap vinyl. So what I had proposed that kind of looked the same was actually the Anderson 100 series, which was, the frame around it's a little broader. It's a Fibrex material. And it kind of had that same blocky look. And I had also looked at
Yeah.
the E series in case you didn't go for the 100 series.
Yeah. We've approved that before,
Yeah,
right?
Fibrex, yeah.
Yeah, the 100.
Okay, I didn't know Fibrex.
Yeah.
The Fibrex is probably better than the 400, correct?
Yes.
Oh, it's in the building.
What else here?
You take all these notes, John?
What's not here?
Got it?
Get it.
Unrelated question, that's a 70s edition, correct? Like in 1970s or something like that?
I think that the last drawings I looked at were proposed drawings that I had seen. I don't know exactly when it was built, but I think 40s.
40s.
Yeah, the drawings had a date stamp in 1940. I don't know when it was built exactly.
40s, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, the drawings had 40s. It said proposed addition, and that was just that tower that you see there.
Uh-huh. Out of curiosity, those big white flanges that are visible on the facade, are they structural? What? Why? I mean, you probably
Yes,
don't have
that's
them on the
all.
drawings.
Yes, it's only it's only 2 white of brick, and it's tucked within the steel.
And that's it. No insulation. Nothing.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
That's it. There is some wood lath nailed to the inside, and then wire mesh and plaster.
They used to build way simpler back then, huh?
It's still standing.
The window color, colonial tan, like in the application, is that what you're saying, or is it white?
The window color,
There's some-
real
Oh,
patterns
that's the
colonial.
mortar,
Exterior
sorry.
color is
It
white.
covered it.
Yeah.
Carried over. Sorry.
So what's behind over here? Do you know?
Yeah, the mortar color carried over.
Yeah, but I was trying to figure that out too. I'm like, why is that up there?
That's like only 2 whites of this.
Any further questions, Nick? You good?
No, that's outside, maybe 3. The sidewall, I believe, is 2 white.
Frame this.
I know that sidewall's 2 white because the steel's within those, is within them, and it's sticking proud.
Great.
I have a question for you. So when you're doing the brick, this is individual brick, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a panel.
No.
Okay, so then the color is going to match the existing, the mortar color?
Is that the mortar color? you
That
have?
is the mortar color. Yes, we had.
Oh, so that's matching the
And that's the
existing
mortar
building?
color, the existing, yes.
Okay.
Do you have a color for those?
A number.
Like a number or a color?
I think
For the mortar you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is
It's listed in the application just
Colonial
as,
tan.
colonial tan.
Gotcha.
So isn't there something about the mortar that you recommend?
Is there any new exterior lighting or anything that's going to
There is one light above the man door on the parking lot level,
Okay.
and I do not have a cut of that with me. There is one light. You can see in the drawing there, it's a rectangular overhead light above the door.
Are you changing any of the existing fixtures?
What was your question, Mike?
Are they changing it? Oh, sorry. Are they changing any of the existing fixtures?
There really isn't any other existing fixtures.
Just the ones on the side wall, like on this wall here. Just
No,
that's
at this
staying?
point, that stays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as a general question then, with this addition, will this be used as a prominent entrance to the church and to the facility?
Well, obviously, those parking in the back
Right.
could access that way. There's a side door that's not in that picture to the left up the walkway, but that's also in the back for people to enter. And everything will be have electronic keys, either by programming or cards to enter. So I would say, for example, on Sunday morning, people parking there, I would expect them to use that. But during the week, the traffic's a lot lower. It would always be locked, and then you would have an entry call button for our administrator to let somebody in or not. So there'll be some traffic, but I don't think it'll be very high back there.
I have no question. Shall we make a motion? Any questions?
right?
I'd like to make a motion to approve application as submitted with the following notes. Recommendation to consider final or actual height to addition. Color matching ivory white on all new trim and fascia, roof fascia to match existing color on the building. What else did we say? We talked about having a light, single light, floodlight maybe on rear entrance. What do you call that? Door number.
Man door is how it's referred to.
I think it's on this other one. I think it is She have a number on this one.
Write down the brick color and, I mean, that's already in the application, so we don't need to specify that.
Oh.
The window will be, they had two options. We are preferring Anderson 100. No.
Yeah, that's right. The 5 bricks.
Yep, got that.
With grill, like a 3x6, no, a 2x3 grill.
What was the specific?
It's well, depending on the size, if this is the right size. But
They're all the same size
well,
windows.
It's a 12 light pattern.
Yeah, so it's a 6/6 or what the double hungs that are tucked in the back.
Bless you.
Are they all the same window though? They're the same size, no?
You new one?
Yeah, all the new ones are the same size. Yeah, they're all 3x4s going up. Yep.
And we're now replacing existing windows. I mean,
No, at this point, we were not.
Just a clarification, you said consider the final height of the addition. Are you making a recommendation that it be higher or lower?
lower. Or differentiate it.
I'm just curious about one thing. What is the man door going to be made of?
That is a steel door.
Yeah, it'd have to be a steel door.
That is a steel door, and then that would get painted classic ivory as well.
Well, let me make your motion, go ahead. I just have one question.
Can I ask one last question? I just noticed looking at this photo here, there's some mechanical stuff on, I don't know if it's air conditioning or heating. Where's that going to get? Because I assume that needs to be moved to some
Gonna go to the
location.
rooftop?
So that the AC unit that is currently there, the one is a window unit,
Right.
which
right.
goes away. And
The
then
other one doesn't look like a window unit though.
No, the other one is not. That goes away, and then there is it ends up being a cassette type split unit
Mm.
that would end up going. I believe that one was supposed to be mounted on the far side, which would be the farthest like east on that far wall.
Farthest east. Okay.
So will it be visible then from the alley? That,
East
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
East
you would
is
see it
that way.
sticking proud of the building.
It's no more visible than it is now.
No.
Right. Right. Okay.
okay.
And how about, just one last question, how about the exhaust fans that are tucked in there? Are they the one getting moved
Those
to the
go
roof?
away. That's the old kitchen.
Okay, so
Kitchen
that's
gets
going to the
relocated, so
rooftop
that,
and then,
that gets brick shut.
okay.
Those go away. There will be exhaust fans there. So those areas that you're looking at, those end up being a men's handicap bathroom and a women's handicap bathroom, multi-stall type thing. So each of those will have a 4-inch vent. And then we'll also have a 4-inch vent from a janitor's closet
Okay.
that will come out.
But the
on that
large kitchen exhaust will be moved
That's
out of
good.
there.
That goes away and goes to the roof.
Okay.
Another clarification, you're not regrading the parking or repaving the parking.
No, everything stays as is.
Yeah, just the drawings are showing a raised grade. Yeah. The elevations are drawn. Not right.
Yeah, they don't show it. They don't show a drop off here.
Oh, right.
Good? I'll second.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Any further comment or discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Connie,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Rod,
Aye.
and Joe.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Take a break before this section.
Do you want to?
Could be a little bit.
We're just going to take a few minutes then for a break.
of these. All right. The applicant owner of the property located adjacent to the parking garage on West Walnut Street proposes to construct a seven-story mixed-use building. Building's first floor will contain commercial, retail, restaurant, and/or personal services spaces, and the upper floors will house 107 dwelling units. In the minutes of the last meeting and the prep for this meeting, I listed all the materials. Some of them were discussed at the last meeting, as you know. The one thing to point out, I think the one major difference anyway, and the applicant can clarify this when they speak if I'm incorrect, but the seventh floor is now designed to step back approximately 7 feet from the face or the footprint of the other floors on the Walnut Street side. It had always set back at the rear of the building that faces the Market Street properties, but now it steps back the front facade 7 feet at the seventh floor. The discussion from our last meeting is included in the packet that you were provided before the meeting. I think I can summarize that as where the conversation kind of ended was a few members of HARB expressed their wish or desire that the building could be reduced in height by 1 story or even 2 stories. The applicant agreed to go back to the drawing board and take a look at the design, and did talk about stepping that 7th floor back, and said they weren't sure about if floors could be reduced for various reasons, which they can explain again if they feel that important. There was no action taken on this one way or the other because the applicant did agree to go back and take a look at the design. So we're back now to review this for the second time and understand the changes that they have made.
So we'll let you guys go first, obviously, and then community has 5 minutes. Just keep that in mind for your questions after
Per person.
per person. Yeah, not all together, per person. Okay, thank you.
Sounds great. So good evening, Stuart Johnson. I'm the architect. I'm a principal at Minnewaska Architects and Planners. We were here, I believe, in August. Slightly warmer temperatures, but equally beautiful. So I think you nicely surmised the discussion we had and where we ended our the last comments and discussion. There was a conversation about ways to further reduce the mass of the building. There was a question, could we look at reducing an entire floor of the building? Could we look at perhaps extending the step back that we were creating at the 7th floor of the building, really with the goal and objective to reduce the visual mass or impact of the building as viewed walking or driving around this building from the human scale. So with that, we have an updated slide presentation here. It's dated October 7th of this year, 2025. If I advance the slide, the first couple slides here are the same slides we shared previously. These were just contextual slides. This depicted the development area, redevelopment area. This obviously shows the prior municipal parking structure that was on site. We know that to date, the new municipal parking garage is now completed. The ribbon cutting recently happened. It's great to see that in its built form. A few renderings here of that recently completed municipal parking garage that's adjacent to our block. The white volumetric massing that was associated with the prior applications of that newly finished garage. And then our proposed site plan. So I'll advance to the next slide here, which zooms in on the ground floor plan. The ground floor plan is largely similar and consistent to what we previously showed you. The primary residential lobby is located in the same section. The area colored in blue is ground floor retail space on the ground floor of the building. Previously, I shared, illustrative perspective imagery and talked extensively about the new ground floor storefront windows that activate, the human realm at the streetscape there, further connecting that pedestrian corridor along West Walnut Street out to Main Street. The typical second through sixth floor of the building, again, is substantially similar. And the biggest change really that we made then was at the seventh floor of the building, we studied several different iterations and massings, but previously we were stepping the rear portion of the building back because zoning required that the rear 60 feet of the lot line, that we were limited in building height within the rear 60 feet of the lot line, which required that step back, but created these private terraces. And really the intent there was to break down the scale and mass of the building. And we came up with a creative way here to continue that along all sides of the building. So we can see the boxes that are colored in an orange color are the interior residential apartment units. The areas that are pocheted or colored in sort of the light sort of tan color are private terraces that units fronting on that would have direct access to. And then we have a low parapet wall along the streetscape or the exterior of the building. We'll see that sectionally in just a minute, as well as in a few perspective renderings. But as viewed from the streetscape, that breaks down the scale and reading of the building and really provides for a closer reading of a 6-story building versus 7-story. And we'll see that in a minute. Now, in doing this, we actually reduced the density of the project. So the prior concept was 108 units overall. This concept is 105 units, so it's a few less units. And the unit mix also was revised. So previously we had 61 bedrooms. We have 67 one bedrooms here, which is 7 more one bedrooms. Previously we had 48 two bedrooms, and this is 38 two bedrooms. So it's 10 less two bedrooms. So it's a reduction of 13 beds, but a reduction of 3 units. So it's 105 total residential apartment units, which are rental apartment units, but the unit mix is a reduction of 13 beds. So that also reduces, overall density of that building.
Can you just say this, the 2-bedroom units again from
The
how
2-bedroom is 38 dwelling units in the current concept, and the 1-bedrooms are 67 dwelling units for a total of 105
right? And
apartment units.
previously it was
108.
no 2 bedrooms previously.
Previously, the 2-bedrooms were 48. So it was a
48.
reduction of 10 2-bedrooms,
Yep.
an increase of 7 1-bedrooms. So if we advance the slide here, this was a building section and sightline diagram that we previously had presented. We've revised this now to depict the step back that was made reference to previously. So we're providing approximately a 7-foot step back at that 7th floor of the building, which as viewed, and we'll see a perspective rendering in a minute, but standing on West Walnut Street and looking at the building, the eye is drawn to that sub-cornice line. That upper floor largely fades away and provides for the reading of a 6-story building. We were also asked at the prior hearing or meeting in August if we could study a building section and sightline diagram as viewed from Main Street, which we did. So we cut a section here. So we have a site aerial plan and site plan here showing where we're cutting the section through. But as we know, West Walnut Street is grading down towards Main Street. And we've depicted the existing building structures on Main Street with their accurate building height. Standing on the sidewalk, walking or traveling on Main Street, this building is largely not visible given the sight line diagrams and the grading. So we show approximately 5'10" to 6 foot tall person here standing on the sidewalk on West Main Street. And as you can see, if we draw a sight line diagram to the parapet or the highest point of our proposed building, they're looking through the existing structures with ground floor retail into our apartments or offices along Main Street. So again, as shown, the massing of the building, given its context, given its siting, and given the adjacent buildings, largely not visible from Main Street. So we don't envision that it would detract from the overall scale, massing, and reading as viewed from the public realm. So the next slide here, we had, if you recall, we had several existing context slides or either pictures we took or street view images from Google Earth. This was a view looking south from Getter Street and Walnut Street. This was obviously prior to the demolition of the garage, just depicting the massing and the streetscape there. And this is the proposed view looking south from Getter Street and Walnut Street. This is an elevated camera view. We picked the camera up here a little bit so that we could see the storefront windows, but this is now revised. So this depicts a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-story building. But again, above the 6th floor, we see that step back. So that 7th floor, that darker vertical fiber cement panel color is stepped back approximately 7 feet. The eye is drawn here to the subcornice line at the 6th floor and really provides for the reading of a 6-story building. So I think if we go back and we look at the prior rendering, this significantly reduces the visual impact and the reading of that building as viewed from the human scale, walking and driving around the building. We're still maintaining those elegant storefront windows that activate, again, the human realm at the main residential lobby in the center of the image, as well as marching down to Main Street here, the new storefront windows, large punch windows on the upper floors. Exterior building materials remain the same as that which we previously shared. We brought the masonry brick veneer sample again. It's a tumbled brick here that has a range. Again, this is as close as you get to a handmade brick. But we think it's appropriate for the building. I think largely folks thought, again, the building materials, the design of the building, the aesthetic of the building was appropriate for its context. Largely, the conversation was about the massing and the height and ways to mitigate sort of visual impact. And again, largely, I think this is a successful design move. The next view we have is a new perspective view. So this is a view looking south from Getter Street and Walnut Street. This is standing at the intersection of Getter and West Walnut Street. We're looking south. So this depicts the newly completed municipal parking garage, right? And again, with that 7th floor stepped back and the eye being drawn to that subcornice line at the 6th floor level, where again, we have a varied parapet design. We're showing the ins and outs of the building. The massing is largely consisting with the height and visual massing of that adjacent parking garage. Zoning for the site here allows for 150 feet in height. We're not proposing 150 feet in height. This is a 7-story building. We've responded to comments we heard about ways to break down the scale and mass of the building. We think the garage, which is now complete, this building complements that and, maintains, nicely, sort of maintains that massing and reading on Walnut Street. The next view we have, this was the existing view looking east from West Walnut Street. So the next view is the proposed view here. Again, this is a elevated camera view. We've picked the camera up so we get a better sense of what's happening at the streetscape, what's happening with the tall retail windows here and activation of this small plaza area adjacent to our building. Again, here we can see that the building largely provides for the reading of a 6-story building. That 7th floor and that darker fiber cement color really fades away. The eye's not drawn there. And there's a distinct difference, again, between the massing and reading of this building versus what we shared with you previously in August. And again, you can see that the cornice line here is consistent, with that of the adjacent garage. The next view here is a new view. So this is a view at the human scale. This is a view looking east from West Walnut Street. I think this is an important view to get a sense of the scale of the building as read, again, from the human scale, walking or driving around the building. Most folks are not walking around with their head in the air looking at the upper floor of the building. What does someone perceive? How do they read the building? So I think this is an accurate depiction of how one reads that building. So in the background, we can see, for existing context, the tall office building back here, which is approximately 150 feet in height. Obviously, the building just to the left on Getter Street, which has ground floor retail and residential. And then our proposed building. So we have tall ceilings here on the corner, new activated storefront windows, architectural slung canopy identifying, branding and signage for that retail, an activated streetscape here, 10-foot wide sidewalk with new street trees, street lights, and storefront windows. And again, this cornice line here is viewed, right, from the human scale, really not perceiving and reading that 7th floor of the building. And then I believe this is the last view that we have to share, but this is a view looking east from West Walnut Street. This was the existing condition, again, prior to the demolition of the municipal parking garage. and we've updated that here with our proposed building. Again, if you recall previously, that 7th floor stepped out to the corner and extended up, which sort of accentuated the reading, vertical massing of that building. So again, by stepping that 7th floor back, the eye is really drawn to the sub-cornice line here at the 6th floor. We think nicely providing the reading of a 6-story building and fitting in the context. So with that, I mean, this sort of concludes the update we have to share today. We heard comments from board members and public and spent a fair amount of time between now and when we were here last in August, studying different iterations on how best to accomplish this, yet provide for a successful project that's financeable and buildable. And also understanding that that existing municipal parking garage is now part of the existing context that we have to respond to. It would be inappropriate not to be responding to that. And if we built a 3-story building here, it would be out of context and scale with a blank, unactivated wall of an adjacent parking garage. So I think the revised massing here and design is a thoughtful approach, keeping that in mind.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Do you want me to start, or do you want to just kind of
Do you want, Joe, did you want the community first? Is that what we,
discuss it first?
Yeah, I mean, we can discuss it first and then.
okay.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so the 7th floor that's set back, if I'm reading your plans correctly, it's 7 feet on the Walnut Street side and 12 feet on the rear.
That's correct. Yes, on the Walnut Street, it's approximately 7 feet, and then on the rear of the building, it's plus or minus 12 feet. Yes.
So what does that make the total setback from the rear alley there to the building?
So there was no change made. I mean, just for
Can you just remind me what that is like? from
sure.
the
So
base to the,
you're saying from the rear property line,
yeah.
the rear property line of this property to the closest point of our building in that courtyard.
Yeah.
We can look that up and get back to you, but that's approximately this one bedroom is 24 feet, and that's about another 30 feet. So it's probably almost 70 feet from that property line to that portion of the building.
So what I'm getting at is, so if that's approximately, let's just say 65 feet for purposes, that you were 77 feet back on the roof side on that 7th floor.
So the 7th floor is further back.
That's what I mean. So we're 77 feet.
So
from
if
the
if
back
we
of
were
the-
70 feet, if you were 70 feet from the property line to that portion of the building, and then this was stepped back another 12 feet, it'd be 82 feet approximately from the property line. And then from the property line to say the next adjacent structure is another plus or minus 30 feet.
So you're almost over 100 feet away.
Sure. I mean, that's, in rough order of magnitude. Again, we could put a scale to the drawing here and confirm that, but I think that's accurate. And again, there's no change here this evening. That was what we previously presented and shared with the public, and again, thought that there was reason why the building is doing that, why we're stepping that courtyard in to push the bulk of that mass back to reduce that. Zoning allows us to build to the property line. We could flip or invert that, but that would not be appropriate as well for street typologies and orientation of the building and the vertical mass, just from sound planning principles.
I have a question, actually a couple. So I'm looking at this photo here, which is the existing garage. The prior garage. Okay, so you have that photo, and if you look at this height right here, and then you go to the next one, how high is that part of the building? And I know you're going to say, well, it's 7 stories, but what is that how high is it? How many feet high is it compared to what was there with the old garage? Do you have that number? Because the way this photo looks, it makes it look like that building is extremely higher than the garage was. Is that just because of how it was drawn?
Well, so these two views, for starters, these two views are slightly different camera angles. So these are not apples to apples in regards to where these two vantage points are. So just, for starters, if you take a picture with a camera,
Got it.
they're not in the exact same picture. This is a Google Earth street view that we took. This is a simulated view that we did. So they're two slightly different aspect ratios. The absolute height of the existing garage, the tallest point of that existing garage was that stair tower, right? Also noting that West Walnut Street is a sloping street, right? So the height of that garage relative to different points changed. But the existing garage,
I mean, the prior garage.
Yeah, it was about 71. So the existing garage was about 71 feet at the front. We had a slide in the prior presentation. We had a slide that we presented to you all. It was a diagram that overlaid our proposed elevation and showed a datum line of the height of the prior garage and what we were proposing. We have it at the rear of this deck, right? We have our proposed building elevation. That was part of your slide deck. It's one of the last pages that shows the front elevation of our building and the height of our building. The absolute height of our building measured from average grade, I believe, is 88 feet.
Is what?
88 feet from measured from the average grade as city ordinance defines building height and how you define building height. We're measuring from an average grade calculation. And that measure to the highest point of the roof deck is 88 feet. Obviously at the sixth floor where we create that step back, or at the seventh floor where we create the step back, that parapet is lower than that, right? But in the elevation here, we can see it relevant or adjacent to the newly completed parking garage. And the height of its stair tower and elevator over on our elevator tower here, that parapet at the seventh floor of the building is lower than that tower element. I mean, just for context, I don't know if that answered your question. Your question specifically, how tall was the prior garage, correct?
Am I correct in that your building is going to be further west than the prior garage was?
Slightly, yes.
That could exacerbate the concept of height.
Depending on the vantage point, it could. Again, I don't think it's a negative impact, right? I mean, we've studied the height of the building, the mass of the building. We visited the site. We've walked the site.
What I'm saying is that if you have the slope of Walnut Street is
Mhm.
going towards Main Street, the slope of Walnut Street
is lower.
is going to get lower. So
Sure.
the building is coming down Walnut Street towards Main Street by how many feet?
You're saying what is the grade fall? So if I look at this elevation here, which is
That's the grade fall. Forget about the grade. Just how many feet is it from where the garage ended to
sure,
where your new building ends? Do you think approximate?
the approximate height,
No, the length.
the length. Mark,
Are you cutting into
Yeah,
is he cutting into the parking lot? Is that what you're
Right. You're saying, so if I go back to the aerial image that showed the existing condition that's out there today,
Correct.
right? Well, it's not out there today. Prior to the demolition of the previous municipal parking garage and prior to the construction of the new garage that's there today, this was a aerial site plan that depicted that garage. That garage terminated here, right? If we see that on screen.
Yes.
Your question is, How much further
Yes.
to the right is our new building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark, I don't think it's.
Where's the angle point to the street? Here?
Yeah.
On the old building, so how does it look?
I think we're actually further in.
Because you're just leaving, how wide is that driveway now? Is that 10 feet?
No, that cartway is approximately
20 feet.
20 feet, plus we have the sidewalk there. So
Which, are you talking about
26
this
feet
one?
or so
Yeah.
from the property line to the building. This is,
They took up half of that.
Yeah.
so prior condition, maybe from the property line to that western wall of the garage was 45 to 50 feet, somewhere in that range, maybe 50 feet max. And what we're showing here is maybe 30 feet. So maybe our building is 20 feet closer in that direction. We could get that exact number for you, but yeah, maybe approximately 20 feet.
So I have a,
But would
Huh.
that would having it come out farther
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yes.
would exasperate the look of the height more.
Yes. From focal, if I take my phone or my camera or any phone, if you're closer to an image, you're going to appear bigger. If you have two people standing here and one person standing closer to the
but,
image,
I mean,
they're going to look a little bit larger. So yes, if you're a little closer, it will look a little bit larger or taller.
Joe, is what you're getting at as well. If you match a height of a building at the top and the grade is falling, it's naturally going to be taller at the lower elevation.
correct.
Right.
That's-
Visually.
that's
Just
what I'm
feel
saying.
taller.
So the thing is, when you're looking at the west wall of the building being farther towards Main Street and the slope going down, and you're measuring the height up from that point to the top of the building,
Sure. That absolute.
it is by nature, it's going to be taller
Yes.
than the existing building by whatever that distance is. So if you look at the triangle that's there from the building going down,
Yes. I mean, to answer your question is yes. I mean, if you look at the streetscape elevation, no one ever sees the building this way unless you flew a drone in the air and demoed the building across the street. But the grade falls along that frontage. So to answer your question is yes. I mean, the absolute height at that corner of the building, because the grade is lower, is taller. If I took a tape measure and I measured from that corner of grade to the highest point of that parapet, it would be taller than if I measured here, because the grading along that street goes up, right? The grade falls significantly along West Walnut Street, as many of us know. So as viewed from that vantage point, as we showed, coming from Main Street, the building would appear slightly taller. But as you got closer, I mean, that's why we generated and we spent the time to generate the various perspective renderings to get a better sense of visual impact. Sure, as I turn my vehicle in, or I'm walking back from dinner or retail shopping along Main Street, this is the vantage point and view that I'm seeing.
okay,
Now-
so the prior garage was 71 feet.
Not at that point. Not at that point. So, I mean, if you were to say apples to apples, what was the absolute height of that garage at that point? That
Yes.
was different. So the height of the garage was approximately 71 feet. The height of our building is 88. We'd have to go back to see where that was measured. I think there were points of the existing garage that were taller. So
That 88 feet is all 7 stories, so it's not accounting for the setback of the 7 stories. So that comparison really, that front cornice line is pretty similar.
Yeah, what is the front cornice line when you're looking
Sure.
up?
what is the height of that?
Yeah.
That's approximately 72 feet. I mean, again, that depends where you're measuring it from.
Okay.
It depends where you're measuring it from in terms of absolute height, right? But that cornice itself is 12 plus. I mean, it's probably 9 feet lower than the highest point of the roof,
Right.
right?
So that cornice line looking,
The 6th floor cornice.
Can you speak, pull the mic down?
oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm sorry. So the 6th floor cornice
Sixth floor cornice here
is about the same
about-
height as what the old stairway stairwell shaft was.
Correct. Yep. And again, we can see in the perspective renderings that we generated, that 6th floor cornice line is lower than the newly built stair tower and elevator tower of the newly completed garage. And I know that there were numerous diagrams that were generated associated with that, depicting the new garage compared to the height of the stair tower of the existing garage. Again, we had a similar diagram in the prior, when we were here in August, that depicted the height of the existing garage, that datum line compared to our building. But I think the best way to read it is through these perspectival renderings, which show more how is the building experienced at the human scale.
What I'm looking at though is what I'm looking at is the existing condition street view. I don't see page numbers on here. I'm sorry. And then the illustrative perspective view. I think they're the next. Keep going. So that one, and then if you go to the next one, so we're saying that 6th floor cornice line there is about the same height as that stairwell was from the previous, not that line right there you have that you just had your red dot on.
Yes, approximately, yes.
Okay.
If I come back,
Minus the setback of the 7th floor roof and everything else. I'm just talking that cornice. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this size is about the same. Okay.
correct.
I just think that the front corner.
You're saying here.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same
Well,
height.
that's what we're saying. Yes.
In the same location.
Yeah, the height and location of this corner element is approximately in the same location and height as that stair tower we saw a
Yeah.
minute ago, because of that portion of the building being stepped back, right? You know, we had mentioned that our building was maybe 20 feet closer to the property line. That's this portion of the building here, right? But this element here is generally in the same location as where that is and the height of that prior to demolition of that
Can't be
garage.
any closer because the street's there.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
the point that I'm seeing with this is when you look at the photo of Walnut Street from Main Street, when it shows the existing building, that photo go back. When you look at that photo there and then go to the next one, whereas the Red Stag Pub building looks smaller in that photo, the way that is shot. And so that exasperates
It does. Yes,
that exasperates the height issue.
correct.
And then it further exasperates because you're bringing it 20 feet towards you
Correct.
and you're coming down a slope.
Correct. Yes. And the camera vantage point here is on top of a van.
Those two photos are just not good. But that's the way
fair.
it is.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a good apples to apples of existing condition versus proposed condition. This view was taken from Google Earth. That would have been a camera mounted to the top of a van. So the camera is elevated. When we elevate the camera, things are going to look smaller because the camera is elevated. In the next view, we brought the camera down to human scale, down to 5 feet or 6 feet. So to your point, if we were out there today and I snapped a picture today and I created a photo montage view, that would be taller because my camera angle or my camera position would be lower, right? And again, our building overall may be slightly taller depending on where we're measuring it from. But yes, those types of things can affect massing in the vantage point.
so I was out there this afternoon. There were 2 school buses a car in between those two school buses. Another car pulled up behind the second school bus. There's a truck at the dumpster. There's one other element to all of this. And you can't help but wonder the congestion that may be created. Oh, the backside of Donegal Square with all their dumpster stuff. So I can't imagine, all of those elements that happens on a daily basis. Evidently, I'm not out there all the time.
At least Monday through Friday. For
right,
school.
right. So how is that going to be perceived, especially from Main Street when you're looking up and you're not even you can't even see this building when all those elements are sitting right there blocking that intersection. So it's just, I just think that, if this were stepped back more, and I get what you did you did a nice job with, stepping it back. But I don't know if you went the right direction.
What do you mean stepping? You mean stepping the building
The
back?
back, yeah, because
The whole
there's
building.
At ground
at
level?
the ground level, because there's so much congestion there. Like, I don't know if you guys ever saw that when you were doing your site visits.
I mean,
It's not going to
we
make.
visited the site often. I mean, the applicant or owner controls property across the street or on site. They're aware of conditions.
Oh, Joe.
I respect your comment, obviously, about the congestion, and that's there. I don't know that stepping the massing of the building back affects vehicular traffic and circulation. That might have to do with signalized intersections or other. I mean, I think the two are maybe separate. I don't know that the massing of the building affects streetscape and traffic circulation. I think there may be two tangential conversations. But I think stepping the building back, again, now that the garage, there's a newly completed garage. I mean, if we go to the rendering, the garage is built today. If the garage wasn't built and it wasn't there, and we were designing a building,
Mhm.
and we were architects, we do downtown planning. We specialize in mixed use buildings like this. But if I was designing a building and that garage wasn't there, or there was a 2-story office building next to us, or if there was a park space, I would respond differently in the massing and the form of the building. I think to step the building back or push it back creates a blank wall effect on that garage. That garage has a 70-foot tall blank wall, a precast wall
Mhm.
that doesn't have any articulation or color or material. When that garage was designed and built, it was anticipated to receive a building next to it that would screen that and hide that with activated uses. In fact, as we looked at our design, the prior design, the ins and outs on the building, the rhythm was slightly different, and we modified that to better respond to that existing elevator and stair tower. I believe there was a comment. One of the comments from a board member or a public member at the last meeting was, when we step that upper building back, upper story back, will we like that? Will you see some of the building or that stair tower?
Mhm.
What will that look like? I mean, I think this image here is a good sort of test of that. I think it fits appropriately. But you do see some of that stair tower returning, right? I mean, you begin to see some of that mass. So, to answer your question in a slightly different way, or from an architectural and a planning standpoint, I don't think pushing the building back is appropriate for those reasons.
Well, that was just like off the top of my head. I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah, and-
It's just that there's a lot of, and maybe you're not aware, I just wanted, of the congestion that's
Mhm.
back there. And I,
Just to add to your comment real quick, Connie, because I do appreciate it. That portion of this project, that'll go through the land development process, and they'll do traffic counts and stuff like that to make sure that this is effectively meets those requirements for the congestion. So that's a little bit, you know what I mean, out of what we look at, but that is taken, they're taken into consideration. I just wanted to make sure you,
Yeah. I just think that it needs to be
yeah, no.
talked about.
Well, I just want, it's not related, Stuart, like, to directly to what you said, but I wanted to say it out and maybe even address visitors here. We're I feel like we're in a very strange situation in which we were dealt, we started with bad apples to begin with. The existing garage, been built in the 70s, was a disproportionate and unfriendly building to be put at the edge of the historic district to begin with.
Sure.
I'm really happy it's gone. And it was also oversized, as the Bethlehem Parking Authority did a study and realized that they actually can do with less, and that's what they got. But rather than going wide, they decided to go compress and go high. So we ended up with a much larger on the tall, the existing, the new garage that is built is, sets a precedent. This was actually quite a big, if I remember correctly, a big argument was like, well, this creates a new baseline. So everything that follows will have a new baseline. So we were already oversized. We jacked it up, and this board did not approve it. But, there are other mechanisms that played out by. So I appreciate your comment. Now that we have this thing, what do we do? So we're in that particular kind of predicament. Something has to go in there. Like, simply, this cannot be anymore. People propose the park. People propose it. It's like this. I feel like now we have 70-foot tall precast wall there, and a site that has to be developed in a sensible way. So it's sort of like it's a domino effect that we are at the end of. And I appreciate you stepping back the 7th floor. This is exactly what we requested last time around. So in my opinion, like, you've shown all the goodwill and done all the right things. I hope you sense our sense of unease still, not related to your particular proposal, especially mostly not with this facade. I mean, we're stuck with this facade, but we actually, I want to sort of like go on record and say, like, I think the true accomplishment of the project as is right now is the south facade, the parts of the buildings that you will see through from God's Acre. The fact that you're stepping it back, that courtyard, that that U-shape is actually breaking up a very long facade. Before it was quite oppressive. So this actually now is a step in the right direction. I think I could probably sense, or at least I'll speak for me, the west facade, the one that is visible up from Main Street, is the one that actually becomes sort of like the marquee facade for the building. And the one that is the most kind of like tasked with the civic function, and justly you're dedicating a public facing function to it with a restaurant or cafe or whatever else there is, right? So there's like a bit of a like a small plaza, or there's more space there for people. So that these are all good moves, I think, positive kind of motivations for the project, regardless, right? Like it's slightly bigger than something that was already big. We're in I feel like it's an impasse because you have kind of like the concerns of a developer, and we have the concerns of concerns of walkability and the general massing and fit to what is. I mean, that building over there, the bank, was it Capital One Bank or whatever that building was over there is.
Bank building.
Huh?
The bank building.
The bank building, yeah. It's another like inappropriate move, right? It was at the time and continues to be inappropriate. So how do we fit in that fabric? Is a thing like, and I appreciate the forum because we're gonna get to hear from neighbors, and I just want to throw that comment out there. It says like, this is a play, we're dangerously, I mean, it's hard to read the tea leaves, but it sounds like we are at the table at the moment and discussing what this could be. And I want us to kind of keep that in the back of our minds because, city council and the mayor have, wind in their sails now with the new election. So like they have a technical mechanism for this project to continue. So I would like us to stay at the table and to continue the conversation no matter what the comments are.
Well, Nick, that's a nice way to quiet a room.
Well,
No, well done. Do we want to take a little bit of a break, or is
And move to public
no?
comment?
Okay. Pardon me.
And move to public comment? or-
Yes.
Yeah, let's just move.
Let's move to public comment. Do we even have a sign-up sheet? Did we have one
yeah,
up
it's at the
there?
podium.
Okay. If you haven't signed in, please do so. 5-minute comments, Mr. Haynes.
Thank you very much. I'm Bruce Haynes. I live at 63 West Church Street. I spoke at the last meeting, and I spoke about the mass, and I would appreciate if you could put the slide up that you had in the last meeting visible from looking south at the garage and the building from the last meeting. One of the last, I think it was the last slide, or
One of these
looking,
diagrams.
yeah, back, that's it, go back. Not from Market Street, from looking the other way, looking from the looking south. No, last meeting, you had it up
There's a
earlier.
different slide deck. We'd have to.
Pardon me?
I don't have that slide deck here.
Yeah, you showed it, you showed it a little while ago.
I did.
Yeah, just go back to, I think you called it the last slide or close to the last slide of the last meeting. If you slow down a little bit, I think I can stop you. There you go. Okay, so-
Streetscape elevation.
Pardon me?
Streetscape elevation.
No, that's it right there. Yeah, that's the slide. It's the same one I spoke to at the last meeting. So,
This is a new slide for clarity. Just-
oh, it is. Okay. Okay, fine. So that's better. This is a new slide, more reflective. First off, I think there's a lot of time spent talking about the old garage and what it looked like. My issue, I'm here to talk about the most important view from the perspective of the historic integrity of Bethlehem, of which I am an advocate of, preservationist, and we just got World Heritage. We are now bringing the world here for our integrity. So for me, looking up Main Street and seeing what you're going to see there, Main Street, on that side of Main Street, has 3-story and 4-story buildings, right? One 5-story building in that whole 2-block section on each side of Walnut Street. So when you're looking up Walnut Street at the garage, as you talked about, it's now closer to Main Street. So it's going to look bigger even still, especially against the 3- and 4-story buildings that are really about what Main Street is all about. And we're talking about a building that is closer and taller. So I point out that this board, the HARB, turned down, rejected the garage. This building, without any question, standing here, if you look at this building versus the garage that was turned down by HARB, is at least 1 to 2 stories taller than the garage. And this is what I pointed out at the last meeting. This garage should not be taller than 5 stories. It's 7 stories, and it's closer to Main Street. And again, I don't care about the view from this side because, so okay, you set back the 7th floor. That maybe helps. I think the distorted with it, but the point is that everything across from there isn't in the historic district. But what is the essence of the historic district is Main Street. We're the number 1 Main Street in America, in a unique town. And you're building a building that is bigger than the one that HARB turned down. And you're proposing a building that's bigger, taller, and looking up and closer to Main Street. So it doesn't really matter. Quite frankly, I think the old garage was obtrusive and not appropriate. And it's great that it's gone. And I don't think we should even be talking about what was the old garage, because let's do it right this time. We have the opportunity to do it right. The old garage wasn't right either. And you're making it taller than the old garage and closer to Main Street and taller than a garage that was already disapproved by this board. I don't think the HARB in any way can legitimately say that they approve of this mass and height of this building if they turn down the garage. And we're just doing the wrong thing. I mean, how do you fix it? You could step it down. If you want to start at a building that's taller than the garage because it's on Walnut Street and it faces the big ugly building across the street, I don't care. But as you start going down toward Main Street, that building should go down to 5 stories when it gets down to the far west side of Main Street. Yeah, you're going to lose apartments. I understand that. I don't know. Is this low income, mixed income, like the mayor wants every building in Bethlehem? Is this going to be a low income, mixed income apartment building? So is that what was planned? It's not?
So this is all going to be market rate, correct? Correct.
Okay. All right. So we don't care about low income housing anymore. Okay. So, but my point here is, so you're going to lose more revenue. Okay. But it's at least you're getting market rate. This is just unacceptable. And I don't see how this board in any way possible could approve this thing. Yeah, you'll probably get it approved at city council. But I just think from this perspective, I think it's disrespectful. You didn't come back here stepping this building down to 5 stories. And I rest my case at that point. And I think you could do that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please state your name.
Michael Bianco, 424 Center Street. Couple questions. And I'm sorry, I had to step out, so I missed the beginning part of your presentation. Is the major difference just the 7th floor is stepped back from the previous presentation?
Yes, the 7th floor, we create a step back all the way around the building. So
Right.
on West Walnut Street specifically, which was the context, and most of the discussion at our meeting back in August was ways to mitigate, reduce the massing as viewed from West Walnut Street. And in doing so, there was a slight reduction in density by 3 units, 13 beds.
Okay, got it. That setback, is that just for the people on that 7th floor? If they're looking out, are they seeing roof, or is that a patio for them?
So it's a step back, so the building steps back.
Yeah, but so
so when the building steps back, there's a low parapet wall, which is what we're seeing here.
Right.
We can see this, what appears to be a cornice line. It's a parapet wall that's approximately ranges between 24 to 42 inches higher than the floor. But yes, that when the building steps back, it creates opportunity then to create a small outdoor private terrace for the units that front on that.
Okay, so that is the intention, to make that patio space or terrace or
Accessible-
something.
Well, it becomes accessible roof area for the individual units, yes.
Okay. So now you're going to need a 3-foot railing somewhere in there so people
Well, we would
don't,
have fall protection, yes. Yes.
which is a railing?
It may be a glass aluminum railing mounted to the rear side of the
So we're not
parapet.
seeing that in that drawing.
Well, you wouldn't see it in this perspective view. If it's mounted to the back side of the parapet and is standing and viewing from the street, you wouldn't see that or read that. Some of these parapets are 42 inches in height.
I get that.
Therefore, in turn,
Sure.
providing that fall protection.
Okay.
But yes, the intent was not to have a railing there. It was to extend the
You've got
parapet
7 feet. So how much you're setting that back 7 feet? You're saying you're going to kick the railing back even further so that your patio is less than 7 feet?
So largely, the gray areas that we're showing there, the height of that parapet is 42 inches. So that provides the required fall protection. The lighter panel area there, we would have a glass aluminum railing that's mounted to the rear side of the parapet. So
That would be visible.
largely not visible.
We're going to say visible.
If you'd like to say that, sure.
I'm looking at it. I'm going to see it right there.
I don't believe you would at this vantage point, but
Okay.
okay.
Same thing on the other side. You're going to have patio space up there?
We do. On that side, the parapet is 42 inches in height. So the parapet provides that fall protection, yes.
Okay.
But
So
yes, there are
typically
private
on a
terraces.
patio, you have tables and umbrellas. So we're going to see umbrellas in that view?
I don't believe that umbrellas would be allowed in the leases, and that would be managed by, that would be a hazard, but the leases wouldn't allow umbrellas on those terraces.
Okay. Sorry. But there is a potential for people to use the terraces and us seeing people and their stuff there.
It's an outdoor private terrace, sure.
Right. Okay. So I think that's important. That should have been brought up.
It would, yes. I mean, that was discussed in August. So that hasn't changed. That design was discussed in August. There's no change to that, but yes.
Okay. You mentioned you have the other deck on there, and I don't really want you to get it up, but has the detail changed from the previous deck to this deck on the facade?
Your question is about the parking garage?
No, on your building.
Slide deck, parking deck?
The slideshow.
Slide deck.
Forget the word deck. That was
Has
the wrong
the
word.
Detail change. Has the
So the August presentation, we saw the detail on your building,
yes.
on the front. Has that changed?
No, the exterior building materials,
Building materials is all the same.
exterior building materials the same. Largely, the percentage of building materials, the way we're stepping the building, some of the brick corbelling and design moves that you see there.
This is a prettier picture than the previous picture. So, and that's kind of what I remember. I remember being very impressed in August at the depth that you went through to get.
largely consistent with that. That largely has not changed.
Largely has not changed. Okay. It just didn't. This drawing, I'm seeing it better. The previous drawing, I didn't see. I wasn't excited by the previous drawing. Okay. Thank you. I'm just going to
Thank you.
just agree with Bruce in that the overall mass does get very big toward the end, and I like his idea of stepping it down as we get further down the street.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, did you sign in?
Anyone else?
Everybody's waiting for you. Go for it.
Martin Romero, 26 West Market Street. About 2 years ago, I came into this rotunda before the Planning Commission and I asked about the design of the proposed parking garage, and I asked if there was going to be a privacy screen at the top, anything to prevent the multiple suicides the city has encountered off of parking garages within the borders of the city. 2 by people hurling themselves off the top, 1 by someone driving a car through the top railing of the garage. And I was assured there would be future times that zoning and HARB to raise that question. Well, shortly after that, the parking authority announced, oh, we're putting the garage in exactly the same spot. We don't need to go to zoning. Ha ha. So I thought, well, I could come for a HARB and talk about architecture. But at that meeting, there was no public comment allowed because there was a spat between the board and the parking authority director about what's going to be in the magic white box. And he said, well, I'm going to go before city council and get your rejection overridden. And city council unanimously or almost unanimously gave you the middle finger and put the garage through. And then after that city council meeting, the parking authority director announced how tall the garage would be. And we never got to talk about brick colors or whatever the ugly concrete design is I have to look at every day. And we never got to talk about a privacy screen. Would people be able to get up on the garage, balance their beer bottles on the top wall during fireworks displays? And then I would have to clean up broken beer bottles in my yard, which isn't as bad as all the dust I had to shovel up while they didn't water down any of the dust during demolition, because that would have slowed them down. It's interesting how when Democrats pollute, it doesn't count. So I want to thank the developer for trying to go through the process the right way, bringing samples of the colors of brick, talking about the architectural design. As I said in the August meeting, the time to argue about the mass or height of this building is a ship that sailed over a year ago. And we just had an election where King Willie was recoronated unanimously, and anyone in the city that wants to ask a question, their representative in the election was shut out again. So I can't go before city council and ask to be represented or ask for anyone to raise a point. So for your balconies, sir, are the balconies built up to the edge of the building, or are they actually set back, like these parapet walls?
The parapets are aligned with the exterior wall of the building, yes.
Okay, but only the residents of each unit can have access to those balconies?
That's correct. If I go back to the 7th floor plan, we can
Right.
see these here. So along the on the south facing here towards Market Street, right? These
Mhm.
are set inward in the courtyard here, but
Okay.
they're private access just to those 4 units there. And then along West Walnut Street, again, a private direct access from the units that front on those terraces.
Okay, and then the courtyard, is that where members of the residents can go into that courtyard? Is that like
Yeah, it's
a public space?
It's a small, it's a private courtyard space accessible only to residents of the building.
Is that ground level, or is that like on top of the 3rd floor or something?
At grade.
Oh, okay, all right. And then there's like shrubberies and a little wall or something?
We have I believe we had a rendering view that we shared back in August.
Okay,
That
sorry,
that
I
hasn't
can't
changed.
recall these slides.
There's a 6-foot tall masonry brick veneer wall, and then landscaping up against that wall. But there's a solid masonry wall in that courtyard that would be clad in the same masonry brick veneer that we're using on the building.
Okay,
And that on the courtyard side, there'd be landscaping and plants up against that to soften that, but the wall itself will help with screening, sound. We're not proposing a swimming pool in this area. This is a small outdoor passive recreational space. We have ground floor residential units in the building that front on that. These buildings typically police themselves if there's an issue.
right. Well, you've made an attempt to provide the neighboring residents with some privacy. And I appreciate that, because we have received none of that from other entities in the city. And so I appreciate that the developer has tried to follow the rules. And I was actually impressed that he came back, I mean, although the change in units is only 2.777 repeating percent less, he did, you've stepped back the thing and you've tried to adjust the size of the unit when per zoning you didn't have to. So I do sincerely appreciate that maybe you're the only developer in the city following the rules and trying to go through the process properly.
Thank you, Marty.
Yeah, no, I have one more question. The picture from Walnut Street looking up at the rendering of the building from Main Street, One more, I think one more, like you see Donegal, yeah, that one. So, right, you could have put the dotted red line there like you did for the views from God's Acre. That might have helped answer some of the questions we had earlier. Like from God's Acre, you put the dotted red line of where the building was in relationship to the old, ugly garage. And, but I am disappointed that we've been denied, the residents have been denied the privacy or the chance to even ask for a privacy screen on the top of the new, marvelous, perfect parking garage. And I still don't know if there's been any architectural or engineering designs to reinforce that top edge of the wall to prevent some despondent person from driving their car off. And now it cascades not 33 feet down to the ground. It's whatever it is now, 58 feet or something. It's like 88% taller than it was. And I just have finally gotten a chance to ask for what we should have been able to ask for 2 years ago. So I don't know what's wrong with our city, but once again, if you want to know where democracy dies, it dies here in Bethlehem. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay. Joseph, anything?
Pardon me?
Any other comments?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Connie asked me for some other comments. I'll be happy to share my notes. And, I agree that the height of the building was set when they approved the garage for the height that it's going to be. And I've looked at this in terms of what people are talking about and reducing the stories of the building. And I think that I brought up at the August meeting that if you reduce the height of the apartment building, you end up with the exposed wall of the garage, which was not designed to be an exposed wall. So the fault goes to the fact that the parking authority did the garage and did not think about doing the entire development at one time. And so now we're stuck with what the parking authority did at that point.
Hey, Joe, if I can just interject one comment. If you step down the height of the building, like was mentioned.
That's my next comment.
Okay, got it. All right, go for it.
I got a couple points.
All right, go for it.
My wife did tell me I'm supposed to be good this time, though. So, if you step it back, and when people talk about stepping it back, what I envision is that they're saying that on the eastern side of the building, you would have 7. And then as you go along, you would have the building step down. And I think that would look, I think, weirder than what we have now. What they're proposing now, I think that would be very strange to go and have this building looking like it's a staircase going down to the Red Stag building. And so again, we're stuck with the height that we don't want. No, we don't. We really don't want to have it. But as I also brought out, the last time, is that, if you look at the economic issues, and people say, well, we can't look at the economic issues because that's not what our purview is, but it does fit into the purview of what we need to look at if you look at the economic issues. Because and as I think I brought up the last time, if you look at the economic issues of reducing the size of the building, and then the building is not as economically viable at that point, then they need to reduce the cost to be able to have the building work. And if they reduce the cost, what you're going to end up with is that, and the only way what I was thinking is that you end up with a short little toad sitting there on Walnut Street, which is not what we want. I mean, if you're going to have something that is going to be taller than what you want, at least have it be attractive, at least have it look good, at least have it fit as it's something that was designed and built for the area. And I know that the height, it's not designed and built for the area, but the thing is that you still want to have a beautiful building there. If you're going to have something that's sticking out, that's what you need to have. So, and I think the big thing is that if you bring that building down, what do you do with that vacant space?
But that's not our problem. That they are very good at what they do.
Right. but
They
the
have
thing
proved
is-
that to us. And to come back at this level that you did, I mean, I'm impressed with what you did. However, I still feel as though it is, once it's built, it will feel so heavy visually and massive. And I don't know if I want to use the word overpowering, but maybe there's it, and it's mostly on the side where we're looking at it from Main Street, where that sense of it just feeling weighty can be reduced in my mind somehow, that
But you're
it
talking about
suits
stepping
it's
it.
well, it doesn't matter what happens, even if it's the whole thing is shortened and you still get all of that.
What I was addressing, if you shorten the entire building,
That
on the eastern end of the building, you're going to have the vacant garage wall.
But Joe, that's not for us to do, for us to figure that out. We're asking the architects. This is our problem. Can you solve this?
I
don't think I would make a decision on this building and the size of this building, considering that there might be a blank wall on the parking lot.
Right.
That is not
Right.
what I'm thinking about. I think overall, this pardon me, this building is too large for the historic district. I think that coming up Walnut Street toward the east or the western part of that building, excuse the analogy, would be very similar to walking up to a cruise ship. And the closer you get, the more massive you realize it is.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, it would still be a gorgeous building, because I know you'd still make it gorgeous without 2 floors.
Right.
I know, wait, but one second. I know you just said that it's not our job, but I want to be clear that the ordinance reads that if we deny this or table this, it's with clear recommendations for what would get an approved COA.
I get
So
that.
I just want to be, I'm not any way on this, but I just want to be clear that if it is our job to tell them that if it needs to be lowered down a story or 2 stories.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So first of all, massing, we're definitely talking about massing here. So we need to understand, how can they, is there a way? And if they come back and say, no, we can't do this, then okay. But at least they're tasked with it. There's a street wall notation in our guidelines, and it says new buildings should maintain the relationship to the street or property line characteristic of the district or the block. So if you feel that does that the way it's shown, then you have that right to vote that way. But these are the items that we're supposed to be following too.
And I agree with that. And like everyone has said, council approved the garage as it's built now.
Mhm.
And I think we would be doing that exactly by keeping the historical character of that block if we put a building in there that matches what the garage is currently. I think we lose that if we try to fit something else in there that doesn't fit that. I mean, we were stuck from a hard perspective because council overruled us. So we now have the garage. I mean, I think it looks fantastic, but we now have the garage. With that being said, now it's our responsibility, like Connie just said, it's to make sure whatever goes back in there is appropriate.
Right. And I think what they've
I think
portrayed
matching those
here-
roof lines and setting that 7-story back like we asked them previously does fit what we asked them to do last time.
Okay.
Well, Mike, I think, not disrespect, but the point is, I think that what people asked for the last time was to eliminate floor.
Mhm.
And, so they've come back with what they think they could do, which would satisfy the view.
Well, did we ask them to eliminate floors, or we asked them to decrease the massing?
No, I believe we asked to eliminate floors.
Okay, because the way I read it, I thought it was decreasing the massing.
Well, I guess, isn't that the
That's-
same thing?
No, I don't think so.
It's not the same thing.
Yes, it is. Whether you're up or you're sideways. it's
Well,
the same
no,
thing.
you decrease the massing because if they were to take that 7th floor and take it to the edge of the building, the mass is even that much bigger. So you're decreasing the massing by setting it back.
Only on one floor.
Well, you're still decreasing the massing, though. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Stuart, do you have this in this?
We,
Yeah,
in the
cross
comments, Mike, in the comments,
Yeah,
it
'cause-
specifically talks about not mass, it talks about height.
Yeah, these two. Okay.
I mean, we specifically discussed reducing the height.
Yes.
Okay.
That was
Yes.
specifically the point.
So the massing, the description here is mid-rise and high-rise buildings should relate the massing of the building to the heights and character of the immediate area. The base or the podium of the building should relate to the scale of other buildings in the area, and the design of towers should include elements that reduce the overall scale and impact of the size of the building. So that's massing.
I agree. But like Joe said in the beginning, of the meeting when he was going over his review, we asked for setbacks.
However, in these notes, it says Rod Young recognizes that a lot of thought was put into the building and loves the design. However, Mr. Young is not fully on board with the building's height, as it will be the second tallest building in the historic district. So he is struggling a bit with the size. Mr. Young also noted that the applicant's presentation of the other examples of tall buildings in the area, with the exception of the Hotel Bethlehem, were buildings outside the historic district. Joe McGavin feels the building design is beautiful and reducing its height will only make the parking garage more visible. Nick Nikolov stated that the building is located at the border edge of historic district and feels this building communicates more with buildings that are outside of the historic district, not the buildings that are in the historic district. He feels that this is a positive aspect of the design. Furthermore, Mr. Nikolov feels the building is well scaled, broken down on the historic district side. This side of the building is not designed like the back end of the building. The south facade is as rich as the north facade. The building is appropriately designed. These are Nick's thoughts. And then unfortunately, this building is in the shadow of the tainted history of the parking garage. Connie Postupak asked if the applicant could reduce the height of the building without destroying the look of the building.
It's interesting to me that our focus on the massing is now all compared to the new parking garage, and we keep saying we've a domino effect that we're stuck with, and we're not talking about the massing relative to the homes that are on Market Street
Right.
or the buildings where where the Red Stag and on Main Street there. I think you mentioned it, Bruce, and we shouldn't be thinking about this just in relation to the massing of the new parking garage. We need to be thinking about it in relation to the massing of the entire historic district area, because this building is in the historic district.
Right.
Agreed.
And
Plain.
I think you have to right size the building to the street.
Can I follow up? Can I still refer, just for your comment, in your professional opinion, I mean, you obviously have generated those drawings with massing in mind.
Correct.
This one and the other one at 90 degrees to each other. This goes through Main Street on the right side over there. And so I'm not sure if that's the red stag, but
So, well, the red stag. So let me go back.
the question is, do you feel that,
So that's cutting through this building right here. So the red stag is there. It has 2 levels of apartments on top of it. This portion of the mass is taller.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
And what I was trying to say is, I've walked this street. I've walked it several times. We've studied it 3-dimensionally. We've dropped it in Google Earth and studied from various vantage points. The grading falls on West Walnut Street down to Main Street. The grading falls further on Main Street as it goes down towards the river. Any downtown at an intersection, if I look at an intersection, there's vantage points of buildings throughout the downtown, the beautiful historic downtown and walkable downtown. There are vantage points and corridors. I could go 2 blocks up this way, up Gooder Street or Main Street. If I'm looking between 2 buildings, I catch a glimpse of the bank building, or I catch a glimpse of the Moravian campus, or I catch a glimpse of City Hall, right? But what we studied, and we were asked to study at the last meeting, was could we create a sectional diagram and look at the mass and height of the building as viewed from Main Street? The right-of-way on Main Street, which is the width of the property line, or from building face to building face, right? We looked at the width of that road. We studied it. We cut a section. We drew accurately to scale the heights of those buildings. There are dimension strings on there. I could pull my plans and share that height, but we're accurately representing the right-of-way and the width of that road. Walking and driving down Main Street, largely this building is not visible from Main Street, is what we're saying. You would have to look through this existing 3-story building. You have to be Superman with X-ray vision to see the building. Now, between buildings and at intersections, while I'm walking across the crosswalk, will I get glimpses of buildings? Yes, in any downtown, in any urban fabric, and I'm not saying Bethlehem's urban per se, but there's a downtown grid. There are glimpses of buildings, and some of that's the character and charm of the unique experiences that you get. I think what's appropriate then too is that buildings that are being designed, the contextual building materials, the nature of the design is appropriate for the context, which is what we tried to do. And I think has been expressed.
Would you be able to maybe set minds at ease with this particular slide and the other one? In your opinion, does this obviously, in your opinion, it fits. Can you please elaborate? Tell us more about how you have, that's through West Market over there. Is it? Yes, it is.
Yes.
So you get God's Acre right on the other side of that building to the right.
Correct.
And you have Market, and then you have the townhomes. And I don't know if the gray volume on the left side it's a stand-in for the bank building, but it's not there.
It's an elevation beyond.
Way
Yes,
back.
the section's not cutting through that, but it's beyond, right? So the section's cutting black here, but we're showing an elevation what's beyond for context, right? I do think it's appropriate. This is a transitional area. The site is found within the historic district. It's at the edge of the historic district. Not only do we have to respond to the design guidelines and goals and objectives of the historic district to maintain the architectural character, but we also in downtown planning have to respond contextually to where we are. And again, this is a transitional area. I think it is appropriate. Again, we shared this site cross-section sightline diagram at the meeting in August. We're showing someone standing on West Market Street on this side of the street. Again, we're drawing a datum line to the highest point of the mechanical bulkhead or to the highest point of the parapet of the building. Again, they're looking through the existing structures that are there. Now, again, I walked and took pictures. We didn't use Google Earth pictures, but we have those images in here. We walked that street and took existing pictures. And we generated new illustrative renderings that depicted the proposed building, right? Now, will there be vantage points and views that you see the building? Yes. But in downtowns, you have that.
May I just, add, something good, like something that I really appreciate, and also, and follow up with something that I find problematic. Like, for instance, in this diagram, I want to draw everyone's attention to how far the building is set back. I mean, you see in dashed lines over there the existing garage. The new garage is a tall, austere facade right up against like a 18 feet from the property lines of the neighbors, right? So you have moved it back, and you've allowed air and light and space to create that separation from the historic homes to immediately to the south. So I particularly like this. Is a very good move to not encroach on someone's backyard like this if you have to go up. What I think a lot of us maybe, or at least I viscerally respond to, is in the the money shot that that you promote, which is the Walnut Street facade, the entrance of the facade. It is an excellent rendering, but also that is a north-facing facade that will not get hit ever by direct sunlight. So we have in this town the ugly precedent of Third Street on the south side, where you have condos being 4, 5, 6 stories high, really close to each other. It's a canyon of type 3, type 5 construction, that is the most generic type. So like, I'm afraid that this, while it's a beautiful rendering, I think a lot of us, I mean, I don't want to put words in Bruce's mouth, but like, you see how massive it looks from the sidewalk. But you have that section, if you don't mind rolling back to the section through Main Street. And this, to me, is where the conversation can play out about massing, right? Like, so if we talk about removing a floor or even stepping down, like, do we feel, what guidelines? I mean, when is enough? How far would you remove one? Would that change the massing radically to step it back one floor? And I'm just not sure there if that is a conversation that you're willing to have, or you can even comment on, because to me, the Main Street, this is 4 levels, right? Like, and if you extend it further, as you go up the street, the scale drops down to maybe 4 levels, where the what is that building at the top of Walnut and New?
With the bank.
Oh,
building?
like the
Yeah, there's some
Verizon
like
building?
Verizon
Verizon?
building.
Verizon
Yeah.
building?
So like, I mean, like, if we look at the street really in terms of massing, is this a worthwhile study or a tool to communicate the massing of it? I'm wondering what your opinion is about this.
Yeah, and I don't know. We were conversing over here and looking at the renderings and looking at the plan and looking at whether or not we could further step back the 6th floor of the building and create a step back like we did at, say, the 7th floor. Could that be done? I mean, architecturally, constructability, yes, that could be done. Obviously, that's reducing the size of the building. There were comments earlier that are valid in regards to, this is about a 100-unit building. This is not it's a large building, relatively speaking, to certain context. It's a smaller building compared to another newer multifamily building a few blocks away that we're not necessarily trying to emulate, right? But obviously that goes into it. But the question is, does that really reduce the mass or reading of the building as viewed from the human scale when I'm crossing the crosswalk between the street? That's when you're seeing the building. The moment I'm walking into the front door, I'm dining outside the cafe or the restaurant across the street here. I'm not perceiving that building because of the site location of that building and the distance I'm away and the height of the building. If someone knocked down the historic buildings on Main Street, could you see the building? You could see the building. So I just question that as we look at, say, that view here, could we create a step back on this corner like we did and create a 6-foot step back, say, on this corner here? Constructability, that is feasible, but I don't know whether that drastically brings down the mass of reading of the building. There was a reason why here we chose to step the brick down so that the eye was drawn to the brick here. What we're not seeing, I mean, I have the experience from seeing buildings through construction and then designing them and coming to fruition. Early in the design, we had the brick taller there. There's a reason why we brought the brick down. We're stepping the brick down, similar to some of the comments we heard earlier. If we go back to, we heard the money shot, right? As viewed on Walnut Street, we can see that brick stepping down a floor here. There's a reason why we're not maintaining this datum line here, and we're stepping that brick down. So as viewed from the human scale on the street, it helps to visually break down the mass of that building. It's not physically pushing back, but by transitioning to a lighter material on the upper portion. And I'll just move to the next image, which this is the one image we have that's at human scale as we get closer to the building. As we get closer to the building, driving and walking up Walnut Street, I dined at a restaurant, I'm returning home to my car, my vehicle, I'm getting closer to the building, the focal point changes. The brick here is 3 stories high. Right? The scale and reading of the building, the way I experience the building is different. When I walk down Main Street or, various areas, I'm often looking up and I'm taking pictures of cornice lines and interesting brick details that I want to emulate. But most people are not walking with their head up. They're generally perceiving a building in the first 30 to 40 feet, right? The average sort of vantage point, unless you change your chin or eye, level and look upwards on the building. So we want to design the building to relate to the human scale. I think we heard earlier about some of the design standards and goals and objectives of, the historic district and other downtown planning, but to design the base of the building to relate to the human scale, which I think is successful here. Again, could that upper floor of the building at the 6th floor be further stepped back? Again, constructability, I think, yes, it could. I just don't know whether visually massing wise, it's significant enough a change. And is that calling other attention to that, to that step back on the upper portion of the building? So, I mean, again, architecturally, I think it's appropriate given the context of everything we're discussing tonight. Also factoring in the economic viability of the project as well.
I think too, the density of the people that use that street. So you have Donegal Square. They're out there in the middle of the winter eating, the school pickup, the kids there. Then you have the Sunning Courtyard. And so there's a lot going on there. And I admit it's a challenge to, I'm sorry, we're trying to hand it to you though, to see what you could come up with just so that it doesn't feel so much in your face. Not from Main Street. I think from Main Street, it would draw me up in a second. Just like Donegal Square's outdoor patio. When people are outside, that's where people want to be.
And if I could just share too, the existing condition that's out there today does not depict the final engineered streetscape, the curb line and the sidewalk. So existing sidewalk that's out there today, I mean, obviously there's construction fencing and Jersey barriers along that street, and it's disjointed. But again, even prior to the new garage, the old sidewalk condition out there was 5 or 6 feet max, and What we have now is 10 feet from curb to building face, right? So we have a wider sidewalk condition, which changes the perception and scale and reading. So what we're seeing out there today and squinting our eyes and trying to vision, that's also what's out there today won't be what we have. We'll have a wider sidewalk. There are municipal improvements, engineered plans to that roadway and cartway to fix, I think, some of the conditions that are out there. But also to create a wider sidewalk so that does visually, the way you perceive the sidewalk is different, the width of the street, but also it becomes more pedestrian friendly.
Okay, so that parking lot that's on the right-hand side, which is directly across from the backside of the Donegal Square, is that going to become part of this building? Where's the footprint?
So you're referring to the existing surface parking that's here today?
Yeah.
That goes away, and this is an access easement for the neighboring properties to access their existing garage. So that becomes a private cartway where there's a access easement for the adjacent neighbors to utilize.
So how are you going to stop people from parking in there?
Well, there's no parking.
Oh, it's just,
That parking has been being used as temporary parking lot. The parking lot was being built for the condominium people in
Okay.
there. So that our driveway is going to be further to the west, the way it shows here, and there won't be perpendicular parking on that road. I'm David Gardner. I'm the CEO, president of Larkin, and I'm used to. I mean, we're trying really hard to make this work for everybody. Sometimes it's just like you can't make everybody 100% happy. You got to figure out like a spot in the middle. And when we were here last time, we talked about I know economics. You don't want to hear it, but like the number of units. You get to a point where there's like an economy of scale of running these apartment buildings. You can't have 5 people in a building this size. You'll go out of business. You're not going to make any money. It's not viable. 100, where we are right now, we listened to and tried to take all the input from the prior meeting, and then we left with this idea of let's set the thing back, the 7th floor back further. We knew we would lose units because you had to reorient them, and we sort of said we can live with 105 units. Listening again tonight, trying to figure out like what can we come up with to satisfy. It seems like the main objection is the view from Main Street up into that corner. So I was trying to be quiet and whispering to Stuart, like, can we modify what we had? Like, it seems like it's that corner. If we could lower it by, or just cut those units back. If it was a 2-bedroom, make it a 1-bedroom. And try to let that corner of the building, that seems to be the most objections that I'm hearing from people in here. It's like that view. It seems like everybody's kind of happy with the view to the south, but it's that view up from Main Street. And, then that means we would have to come back again to try to modify. But I don't want to totally do that if we're not all together. That's what we're going to focus on, is the corner of the building. And maybe we can come back here in January or whatever your next meeting is after the holiday, because we would need some time to see. And I just said what I said to Stuart. I said, can we get a unit or 2 back? Maybe if they're really unhappy with the way the view is through that corridor, maybe we don't make the terrace as big, the step back as much as we are suggesting on the Walnut Street side. Maybe we move it. I'm just talking, by the way. I said maybe we'll make it like 5 feet, and if you did that, can you get one of those units back if we had to change the corner 1 or 2 to configure it so that it reads even lower from that side? And then I'm listening to this gentleman and these guys talk
Which we can't do, so we're not going to do. But creative things like that, we are going to study.
Listen. I'm happy to come back and try this again, but I don't want, we can't, I really would hate to feel like we're wasting time and money to do it again. If we're not all together, that like our focus could be to see if we can tweak that corner of the building, try to make it read lower the way the neighbors are, pushing for it sounds like that's the most objectionable spot. Everything else seems like we're kind of okay, but maybe there's something else that we can do. And I'm happy to come back again and take another stab at it to see if we can make you happy and not go the route that the garage got approved.
Right. And I mean, again,
We want to be friends.
what we're talking about is, could we create, say, a 6-foot step back at the 6th floor, right, on this piece of the building, right?
Right.
See, Stuart, like, so it, thank you. Yes. But it's a question.
Yeah.
Right. It's a question. And like, I think it will be good to have a comparison to evaluate. So like the process is external, not internal, if possible for you, because it starts with you, but like, if you can invite us in that comparison, because I suspect that 6 feet is not going to be a big deal. I mean, you're not going to see the big change that we all are hoping we'll see. But maybe you'll work your magic and you'll make it happen, right? So like if there's a way that we can also participate in that decision, or at least you let us into your decision process so we can see how you're making those decisions. I think that may be helpful to kind of building goodwill.
I think too, that, don't put yourself through all the pain of what you've done so far as, the drawings and everything, because even if it's a line drawing and we can just get that sense for what you're talking about, or the colorations, then I think that would help the visual. Sketches do work. I did one on a napkin once and it's still standing.
Question, Mike.
Yeah.
Is the garage 5 stories or 6?
It's 5 floors.
Pardon me?
5 floors.
Because there's a drawing here that talks about the garage as 6, and then there's been a drawing that talks about the garage as 5.
There's 5 parking floors.
5 parking floors?
Right.
And then there's this retail. So it's 6 stories.
No, the retail's built into the first floor. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
It's 5 stories.
Yeah.
Then.
Well, when you
and then this is a double ceiling.
you enter here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 levels of parking. You park on the roof, no?
Yeah.
No.
There's a double it's a
The
double.
first level is sloping ramp. It's 1 level, and then 5 with the rooftop.
Mhm.
Much taller this building is than the garage.
We're from an economic standpoint on this building, we're you're going to end up with a building that's going to look like if we had to take an entire floor off, you're going to end up with a really crappy lower end building here, because we can't afford, if you keep crunching us down, you're not going to be able to afford to do this nice construction. I mean, there's a lot of, just by doing the step back has probably added $500,000 to $1 million of cost to the building, because now instead of everything bearing on top of each other, going straight up, you're going to all of a sudden have this setback, and you're going to have to they're going to figure it out structurally how to do it. But you start making these changes, it's not, you can't just wave a wand. So
The height of this, by the way, the height of the newly constructed stair tower elevator for the garage is 81 feet, 4 3/4 inches. The height of our building at that point is 82 feet. So it's comparable in height.
Can
in
you
terms
say
of
that?
if I drop a tape measure at that one point and go there, and we can see it here, right? The 7th floor that stepped back is essentially the same height. It's inches away from that in regards to the height, right? And then obviously here, that sub-cornice line of the parapet where we've now stepped that back is visually and massing in line with the parapet, the brick parapet of the uppermost level of that garage. But that word, I mean, I'm just, sharing
yeah.
what you're reading or seeing.
Can
Yes,
you
if that's helpful.
restate the height of the tower of the garage? 81.
81.
From that corner on the right side of the garage. Obviously, the grade falls along that street.
Right.
If you measure from the midpoint or the average grade, it's different. But if you look at the engineered building permit drawings that are filed with the DOB, it's approximately 81 feet, 4 3/4 inches. The height of our building on the left side of the residential building to the 7th floor roof deck that's stepped back is 82 feet at that point.
Show me that there.
Right. I can go to maybe the perspective rendering. I mean, here,
Yeah.
right, in that little crotch, right? Because
That's the-
7th floor is stepped
That's the
back.
top of the parapet on the 7th floor is 82 feet.
Correct. And the top of the parapet of that bulkhead for the now existing stair tower and elevator is 81 feet, 4 3/4 inches. So it's same. I mean, it's comparable, right? It's 7 inches difference.
Yeah.
But we didn't want the height of the garage anyway. so. Okay.
It's
How are we going to do
well
this?
heard.
Let's move this forward.
Can I make a comment?
Sure. Why not?
You're saying it's 82 feet. You said the average height was 88 feet,
Not
so
a
there's a
comment,
6-foot
it's a
difference
question.
from there to the center. It goes another 6 feet. So at the far right end, we're probably at 94 feet. Best guess.
About 90, but 93 maybe. But again, if you drop a tape measure from end of building to the top.
Okay. So that was the number you were looking for at some point.
Pardon me?
That was the number, he was saying that was the number you were asking for.
What are options now?
And so I think we can agree to give them clear direction and see if they're willing to come back. Or it's going to require someone to make a motion to approve or deny. So, I mean, I think it was clear that they're looking for clear direction. We'll see what they have to say. Am I correct in saying if you can get clear direction on what the issue is at this point, then you're willing to come
We're
out?
happy to come back and study that that view up from Main Street and see if we can tweak some of the work that we've done to make it read, to lower the building in that corner. If that's what, and then we can come back with what we have here today again and show you what we came up with. And you know, maybe when we do that, Stuart's going to figure out how I can get a unit or two back. If we go and take because we lost, how many 2-bedrooms did we lose? Like 10
We lost 10 2-bedrooms.
Normally we like to build 2/3 2-bedrooms, 1/3 1-bedrooms. We've been successful doing that. So here it wasn't going to happen anyway, but we were like closer to 50-50. But now we're really doing more 1-bedrooms. So, you know, yeah, if we could get direction, I'm willing to spend the time and money, whatever it takes, and do this again, as long as we're not opening up. We know we have clear direction that we're focusing on that area of the building, and to see if we can architecturally tweak it. That is what we would, you know, ask of you, is to if not, then I would suggest vote on it the way it is now, and then we'll figure out how to go forward from there, but I would really rather do it with you guys all on our side.
Okay. S- Thank you for that. So, Mike, your feeling? I'm going to go down the line.
Yeah, so I mean,
Keep
sorry.
it short.
So yeah, I mean, so I just want to be clear. Like, I thought the 71 feet, 72 feet was close to the staircase of the previous garage. So I didn't think the height was too much different from that perspective from Main Street. So, how they handle that corner, I mean, that seems to be not that much of a concern to me. I just want to make sure that um uh whatever we give them, I mean, I don't really have any other comments on any other buildings with the setbacks and the massing and stuff. So what I really want to find out is if we have any other things that we want to have them talk through or have them work through with their group that other than that one corner that seems to be
The sticking point.
the sticking point.
Okay. Thank you. Nick?
I am sort of in the middle because I think that focusing on the corner, we're not doing justice to the big issue. If I were to focus narrowly on mandate and talk about fitness, massing, character, I think the project is not appropriate. Is not
not appropriate.
right,
appropriate.
but that's not necessarily on the table, right?
It should be. We're in
huh?
HARB.
I disagree. I think we're put in a tough spot to troubleshoot somebody else's problem that was given to us.
Yeah.
I
Seems to be
think,
this hard.
like for me, I am completely unrelated to the great efforts that applicants are making here. I think we're given we're squeezed in a tight spot to have to figure out what makeup to put on a project that in the master planning stages was ill-conceived. So we can talk about brick, we can talk about cornices and shave a foot here and shave a foot there. There is just no way to get past the fact that this garage should have been smaller because they needed a smaller garage and a newer garage, and nobody needed condos here anyway, right? So like, okay, now we're building this, and we have to give ourselves wear the hat of culturally responsible people when we actually were told your opinion doesn't matter. We were told that. So how can I say like, no neighbor, do not use that paint on your deck, right? Nickel and dime our neighbors over, how many lights their windows are, or like, how is it a round or K-style gutter, right? We're like splitting hairs with our neighbors when the big picture is completely out of our hands. So like, I feel I don't have the agency here. I mean, I can say, okay, what can I do? I can create trouble, I can create noise, and I can vote no, I'll be reactionary. But that those that actually matter, I mean, that will be at the expense of our friends here. That will be at our own expense as well, because the minute you dig in, you're thrown out of the window, off the table. Nobody will care. At least now we're talking. So now that I have vented my frustration, I want to say like, yeah, I appreciate your willingness to keep tweaking. And I would prefer not to vote up and down right now tonight. But I also want to give you the agency to make that call as well, because you're the applicant. We serve you as well. And if you want to vote up and down, I feel like we should not be putting conditions for your applications, if you want to go forward. I think you've done plenty in my mind. I suspect that 6 feet back is not going to make a big difference. If that is to the comfort of my colleagues and the community, I will fully support it. And, you know, appreciate you offering this to do that. Apart from this, like that will be my preference tonight. With full appreciation of the comments and the conversations, if we can compare before and after, again, version 3, and, you know, so that everybody can be happy. I think that will be in everyone's interest.
It's okay, Nick.
Again, I'm just saying, like, in the end of the day, what are we doing? I mean, we're just giving a hard time over what? 6 feet?
No, I don't, okay.
I don't know. I think the
I
bigger
d-
picture
I
is
think
the
that
problem.
6 feet was just a number thrown out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
think the
how
bigger issue is when we go to city and I want all the public comments to go to City Hall and say, like, you guys, you have no qualifications to vote on architectural appropriateness of developers' work. They're not qualified. They're not elected to do that either. They have no qualifications, and they get to issue certificates of appropriateness. I'm sorry, I had to submit my
He had to
my-
sidebar there.
my CV to be approved to come here. They don't have to submit a CV to be overriding me.
But they got voted in.
Yeah, but they're elected, so I know.
Oh, guess who else is elected? I mean, I'm sorry. Like, there is a way in which we have to put merit and some sort of expertise above popular.
I wholly agree with you.
And,
I'm putting the period at your sentence there, though.
I'm sorry. So thank you, man. I appreciate your patience. It's just a small town we live in.
Mm-hmm. Rod.
So I get to follow him. Huh? I'm coming up on 7 or 8 years on the board here. I've lost count. And I'm definitely struggling with this particular decision more than any other one that I've, had to weigh in on. I'm struggling from a couple perspectives. Number one, I think you guys have been fantastic. And just the spirit that you want to work with the community and with the board to make this happen. I think it's awesome. I'm not struggling with the end of the building and what you see looking up the street from Main Street. So I kind of agree with Nick. A couple feet difference there isn't going to make a difference for me. I'm just looking at it more just from a overall big picture and relative to what's around it. And so in a way, we have a precedent of a new parking garage that is now creating a precedent that's going to be set here with this building. And then if you pull up the sightline page from Main Street and you look at the size of the building that the Red Stag is in, when does the developer come in and buy up that block of buildings and put up the next structure that now will fit in with the massing of the parking garage and the apartment building? So that's where my brain kind of goes on all this. I think it's
Well, the Woolworth building is already going.
and that's I thought about
3
that
stories.
earlier tonight. I
And
thought
right across Main.
about the Woolworth,
Yeah.
the Woolworth building. So it's just this incremental creep that concerns me, and I'm a resident of the historic district. I honestly don't know how I would vote if a motion were made tonight to approve. I'm honestly sitting here. It would be a game time decision as I was thinking it through. I love the design of the building. I think it's a wonderful design, and I think you guys have really done a great job with it. And I am very much on the fence. So
Thank you,
that's
Rob.
where I am, Connie.
Thank you. Hannah?
I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's a beautiful building. I'm really glad that you guys are the architects and the designers of it. As a member of HARB, I think it is too massive, whether it's the Walnut Street side or coming up Main Street. I think it's still too big. However, I was thinking if something were stepped down on the, at the far end, on the western end, I don't know, even if it were 2 stories or 3 stories, that building going up that grade would still look massive. It will still look big. So I'm sort of on the fence myself. If we voted tonight, I would pull the HARB card and say, no, it's too big. It can't be as massive as it is. However, I agree with Nick. I don't know if 6 feet is really going to make a difference. So I don't want to see, I guess it's up to you. Do you want to go through those hoops? And if we ask them to go to redesign and they redesigned, then that would be something that we would be obligated to accept. Or do we have plan A, plan B? Do we get to choose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not
No,
really.
yeah, just say you're sorry. Joseph.
So the concept comes up about we're setting a precedent with height, and I don't think that we would be setting a precedent. Someone brought up the Woolworth building. You know, I was not in favor of what was done with the Woolworth building. I think that was it's just ugly, like another atrocity. You know, I think it's a beautiful building. And I don't know that you can really go and get it down to what people want. I think that part of the issue with the look is that when you look at that view that you've created going up Walnut Street from Main Street, it makes it look massive. And, you know, and so I would almost like to know, I almost want to have somebody survey it and tell me what the real height is of the Red Stag building at that point. You know, it's something I've been thinking about and I was looking at this morning when I got up, and I don't know how long I've been on the HARB, but I remember when I was interviewed with Mayor Donchez at that point, you know, one of the things that I talked about in coming on this board was the value that I saw in the historic district as a realtor that sells properties in Bethlehem and has done a lot of relocation and back in the day, and how taking people and touring them through the historic district was a big part of selling people on the concept of coming to Bethlehem. You know, and I had someone from Maryland just this weekend saying, we have somebody coming up to the Lehigh Valley. They want recommendations on what to see. And I was able to give them things about Bethlehem. So I don't live in the historic district, but I love it. And if somebody were to say, if you have to vote on this building, I would be scared to vote no, because I would be afraid of what would come next. That's the fear that I have, because I think the building, yes, it's too tall. Yes, I wish it were shorter, but I wish the garage was shorter. And like Nick said, this development process was totally bastardized from the very beginning, and we're now stuck with it. And that's the thing. And I think with what you've got, I agree. I mean, you have been very wonderful to work with, and I look at that, and you know, it's beautiful. My daughter was in for Thanksgiving, and I showed it to her, and you know, she agreed. I mean, and she's an architect. That's what she does for a living. That's what she's been doing for years. She's, you know, agrees it's a beautiful building in the site. So if you can do something to bring it down, that would be wonderful. But again, I don't know that 6 feet is going to make a difference. Maybe it would. I don't know. I'd like to see it. But I think I need to see. I think that one photo makes it look, I think that makes it look taller than it is. Because I think that when you look at the photo that you have of the old garage and the Red Stag building, and you look at the photo of your building and the Red Stag building, the photo that was created, and the point that I was trying to make is it makes it look like it's like 20 feet taller than what the garage was, 25 feet taller. It makes it look huge. And I don't think that it is that big. But I'm not the one that can go and create what you'd need to see with that. So I would love to have you come back with something again.
Thank you. So my turn. I agree with a lot of the things that are said by my colleagues. I'm an interior designer. I can put things together in my head a little, maybe more spatially than others, because he's an investment guy. They're real estate people. And I get that. But that's what this board is all about, is the community. And we are representing that community. We listen to our friends. We listen to people who live in historic Bethlehem homes. I live in one. I absolutely love it. But when it comes to something like this, it is a tough decision to make, especially because of our fear of the garage issue. I mean, it's a big umbrella over our heads right now. My head anyway. I think what you designed here is beautiful. I think that it's forward thinking. I think that when you blend something as well as you did here with the historic part of our town, that's when it's a win-win. And maybe we're asking you to do something that is just another exercise, and it may not work. But I've been pushed sometimes on projects, and I think, Nick, you probably have been too. And unless a client pushes, then you don't come up with that's it feeling. And I think we're almost there. And I mean, if I had to vote tonight, I don't know how I would vote. It would be a game thing too, you know. But I think that if Bethlehem City does need this building to bring in fresh blood and life, and because there's this mix of the old and the new, and that's a challenge with people living together, you know, in the same community, because this one's going to think this way and that one obviously is going to think something else. And I think that this building can bridge that gap where you can see a mixed community in there. So I think I'll make a motion that we invite you back if you're willing to come. And if you call us and say, hey guys, you know, we just can't, or it's too expensive, we will totally understand. Or I hope to see you though, you know, next month, that, you know. So if you're willing, then you're welcome to come back. And
Just to clarify, I don't think we need a motion if they
yeah,
agree to
right,
come back.
Right. That's not right.
Can we be on first?
Yeah,
And-
okay,
and-
yeah. You'll keep, and the only one, because it's long for us too.
Promise you're not going to push the meeting back for months. When's your meeting in January?
We got to either wipe the motion out or make a motion.
Yeah, I
know,
wiped the
I know.
motion out, or
But
I just didn't,
yeah.
yeah.
Are we giving them clear direction? Is the point I'm trying to make, or are we telling them just to bring something back and it's going to be a yes or a no?
I think that they totally understand that this is what we've talked about is the massing issue, and that's
I understand that.
that's
Can we
What
get a
I'm-
little
what I'm getting at is-
flexibility on this?
If we don't give them clear direct, and I'm asking this for clarity for myself and for them, but if we don't give them clear direction and they come back and then say to us, we can't do anything,
Mhm.
are we obligated to pass it at that time? Like what direction are we giving them, or what are we telling that needs to be addressed?
I don't think that's a question that any one of us can answer somehow. I get where you're coming from, Mike,
Yeah.
but, you know, I think we've talked a lot about
Can I?
The modification, it's
Modification
a modification of the height
of this.
at the
of it.
western end of the building in some fashion to bring the building back.
An attempt to modify. We ask them if they can modify that, but that's what I'm saying is if they come back and they say they can't,
We'll deal with it at that point. I'm not,
Then we vote.
I'm
At
not,
some
I'm
point-
not ready
at
to,
some
I'm not
point we
ready
have
to
to-
say
Well,
what's
that's what I
going to
just wanted-
happen if they
that's
come
what
back and say they
I'm
can't.
not disagreeing with anything anybody said. I just wanted to say, do we have to give that clear direction that
Is that clear direction enough?
is
Just to be clear, what you're asking for is a modification of height / massing so that in case people
At the western end of the building.
at the western end of the building.
Right.
You understand what we want?
Can I rephrase it a little differently? Would you be willing to come and provide us with an alternate of the west end top 3 levels or whatever how you want to
Yeah,
localize?
we're
it?
saying, yes, we'll
Yeah.
come back, but just,
Yeah,
would like to be on
just
first.
an alternate to your existing proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, well, the other thing is the submission timing. What do you-
At which point we will have to vote.
We will vote.
Right. Is that
Look,
the
if
third?
we understand, you still may vote no. How's that? You good?
So,
But
So
at
the
least
next
we will have
question-
all really tried.
right, so the next question was when is the next scheduled meeting and given holiday schedules, but also there's a requirement to submit design exhibits well in advance.
yeah, you get 3. We changed the due date. It is now 3 weeks ahead.
Right.
So let me just see when our
So if you were meeting on is the 4th of Jan, I mean, the 4th
I'm going
of
to tell you
January
right
is the
now.
First of all, do you think you can be back by January?
It's January 7th.
January 7th. So January 7th is the first Wednesday in January, correct?
It's the first is the yes.
No, it's
yes,
the
it
first
is.
seven. It's the
Yes.
first Wednesday in January.
you-
So
I put him in my calendar today. It's
So-
January 7th.
3 weeks prior to that is, I think it's next week. I could be wrong, but
So the meeting is January 7th?
Yes.
right.
Submission is like tomorrow.
Well, 3 weeks ahead of that is Wednesday next week, I believe.
Well-
a week from today.
I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I'm the guy that sees it first and puts the preparation together. I'm an architect as well. I've obviously presented to other HARBs, and for the board's knowledge, I guess, for lack of a better word, many times, many HARBs, when there's a continuation of a project, we're not starting from new.
Right.
I feel like if I get this project a week before the meeting, that's sufficient for me. I'm not starting from ground zero. And I would be willing to do that.
As a historic officer, I think you have that ability to
So
make that.
New Year's.
I mean, I would just,
Yeah. I mean, I would just
require that maybe you send an email in asking to be on the meeting and then, subsequent submission to follow.
When is the meeting?
January 7th.
Yeah, I think we can make it.
okay. So you're suggesting the 30, so the week of New Year's.
Yeah, I mean, if we can.
All right. So we're gonna.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at it on New Year's. So
Either am I.
the second then or something,
Okay, so let's do that. Let's give it the college try and see if we're ready. And if we're not ready, we'll have to push into to February. But that would suck. But we're gonna try.
Thank you so much for your understanding.
We would much rather us go into the next phase of this thing with a little momentum and happiness.
Mhm.
I'm sure that'll go a long way.
Then
Yeah, we could use that. Happiness. Okay.
All right.
Move to adjourn?
hold on.
Oh,
Let me see.
we have to vote?
Just want to see. Make sure we got everything. Yes, there's no new business as far as I'm concerned. So,
Okay, good.
motion to adjourn. Someone?
Me,
You?
yeah.
Second?
I second it.
Diana? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are you guys going back to New York tonight?
What's that?
Do you drive back tonight?
That's why he wants to be on first.
He's,
He's got to go to Brooklyn. It's pretty far.
oh my goodness.